Oh, by the way, I'm at the Venetian with Nikki Glazer. If anyone's interested, I'm there again end of September, and I'm there in November. So if you want to beep bop over to that, click a few links and buy a few
I will be
ticks.
at Leonardo's Pizza Place in Sherman Oaks next Friday.
Okay, that's a noon show.
I'm going to go to Knott's Berry's Farm. That'll be a noon show. I'm going to be at Knott's Berry's Farm on the water slide ride on August 19th.
Letting people on the ride?
August 19th. Well, yeah, I do sometimes moonlight. That's the carnival stuff I do. It's another time. I will be organizing the midget tossing exposition in Laughlin, Nevada on the Riverboat Casino. I would be face down in a pile of my own goo early Sunday morning.
Your own goo?
Yeah, face down in a pile of my own goo. That's what I tell people. No, I'm not going to drink that much. How was the drinking last night? Great. I woke up face down in a pile of my own goo. That doesn't sound good. You know what, David?
Tony Hawk.
Flash observation.
Yes.
No one has ever woken up and said, damn, I forgot to do shooters last night. A lesson for you hard drinkers. No one's ever woken up. So I didn't get fucked up
I
last
should have
night.
drank more.
Yeah.
Dranking.
David, Tony Hawk
Tony
is a
Hawk.
friend of yours.
That's all.
David, can I just say this before we start Tony Hawk? We'll cut this.
We started.
We'll cut it.
Nope.
Whatever.
Mm-mm.
David, because I was mentioning you to someone recently who'd seen Police Academy go, like he was a national class skateboarder. That's what they said. Or a really, really good skateboarder.
That I was?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what they said.
I hope that's out there. It's
So
fucking live.
you were really good. But
Yeah.
brings us to our person we want to introduce,
Well,
Tony Hawk.
is a freak of nature at skating. I was blessed to be in a movie with him because I'm in Arizona, like what they call it a beater. It's a guy that just pretends to be like a surfer or a skater. But I was kind of good, medium, but Tony, they were so good. And I read about these guys. Suddenly they're on the movie with me. And that was Police Academy 4. Stayed in touch with him. He did that video game. He talks about that. That blew him up. He still skates. He still gets hurt. He still has neck trouble like I do. Taking those falls so many times. I don't know how he still does it, but unbelievable. And he's still tough as shit. It's a hard job to be a pro skater. He still gets in and gets dirty.
He's competitive. I mean, he is driven. He doesn't.
I think he just sees the new guys and goes, "Fuck this! Like I'm still good."
He competes with himself. He just still wants to grab. But he will break down. This is one of my favorite parts of this podcast. What it's like to go up those giant ramps and you're going upside down, and what you're thinking. What are you thinking? Where you have to grab? How do you not get killed by doing that? I admire daredevils. I mean, I once jumped off a 6-foot thing into a lake, and I never did it again.
I never did it again.
I never did it again, let me tell you.
When you do those ramps, when you're up there doing half pipes, in the middle of the trick, it's about a second and away when you're doing your next trick. So once you realize you've completed it and you're starting to land, you have to think, where do I go for the next trick? And then how do I get my weight shifted? Then you go up and then you go, oh, this one. I have to land here because I have to go to the corner and jump the fucking gap. It's so crazy. And they do 8-10 tricks in a row. And I can't believe the thinking that goes on. You got to do it so many times.
So we're going to talk all about his career as a...
And maybe
is he the GOAT? Is he kind of the GOAT?
Yeah,
He's the known GOAT
I think he's
all
known.
time of skateboarders.
There's Tiger Woods, there's
X-Games.
Gretzky. There's some that are sort of, nobody argues.
And that's his real name, I understand, because it is kind of the coolest name if you're trying to brand things for like 8th grade kids. Tony Hawk. And he, incredibly nice guy, really, really smart about anything to do with flying around on a skateboard. And as an entrepreneur, he is a brand. He's a global brand.
And he had just done his first thing on SNL when we talked to him.
Yes.
Tied it all together.
He was on SNL
with a
for
bow.
7 seconds. Therefore, he's part of our podcast.
Sorry, now you're on.
It's called Slim Connections episode.
You fucked up. You're on our show now.
If you've heard of Lorne Michaels, you qualify as a guest.
Apply now.
If you've ever said the word Saturday and live in the same day, you can be on
If you know
Fly
what
on the
these
Wall.
3 words mean, you're going to be a guest. This is a bit off subject, but because I'm a great guy and I have great guy syndrome, I think for actresses, I don't think it's fair that every article, they're like, Mimi Rogers, 67. They always put their name and then their age, and I do not know
why. Did they fail
why.
to do that with men?
They do it for men too, but I think it's mostly women, and that's when I notice it, and I go, why does that matter? And that should be eradicated because it doesn't matter. You can look it up if you want to know, right?
I think they'll eradicate it if we
look up anything at this point.
petition.
I mean, I can't
Hollywood.
believe they're still doing that when they don't do anything else. It's like that one seems a little more obvious.
David, let's put a billboard
put it out
and
there.
say stop putting the ages of women in
start a
sexes.
petition.
Let's
Because-
start. I got a lot of time in life.
Especially in the actress world, like if you're thinking of hiring someone that just in the back of your head, you go, oh, that's the right age, or oh no, that feel, whatever. Just it sends a weird message immediately, and it doesn't need to be in an article. And
I know.
anyway, thanks
We
for
should
coming by,
all keep
Tony.
a sense
Take
of-
it easy.
Thank you. You're free to look at my age.
Tony
I'm super
Hawk,
old.
who turns
I'm not
27
blaming Tony for
tomorrow.
this, but
He's the age thing. One is always keeps a sense of humor about it, and I have a dermatologist who's I think he's like 85. I said, "How old are you?" He goes, "I'm 106." That's a standard ansser.
that's a good way to say it. Just to say it's high.
He's a guy
Don't
who
worry
checked
about
my skin, and he had a woman with a clipboard, and he kept going, age related. He's got a microscope.
I do like
Age related. I go, do you have to say age related? Can I have something? Age related.
it. Dude, I went
Anyway,
to
I've done that on this podcast before.
Dane, I went to
I'm running
catch
out
one
of
night.
shtick.
Tony,
So go ahead.
we might not get to you, but
That's fine.
I'm just going to tell
I listen to the show anyway, so I'm just here fascinated.
you know how it
This is
works.
cool. Yeah,
you know it's going to come to you.
We
okay,
have
soon
so
enough.
many questions for you. It's gonna be a two-parter.
So I go to this high-end restaurant, Koi, and Koi, which is basically sponsored by us.
I think I saw you
$72.
at Koi.
Koi's-
Back in the day.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they moved it.
When
they
people
moved
were
it.
like hovering with
Oh, it was very
cameras over the...
paparazzi-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
It
That's where I
was
got
the
caught with
place, and then Catch took him.
So
Craig's.
this guy was there, and he goes, "Hey, this is my buddy. He's a plastic surgeon. He works in town, and he's already looking at me." And I was, of course, a little buzzed naturally because it was nighttime. So I had a little
The sun
loudmouth
goes
soup in
down.
me.
You're like a werewolf.
I go, "Gug, gug, 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 gug." I get that little humming review. So I get on there and I go, and I'm just standing at his table. So I go, the worst question, what would you do to me? And he like slowly looks at me like
no.
RoboCop. Boo, boo, boo. I go, no. And he goes, well, and I go, no. And he goes, listen,
He's got a lot of bullet
if you
points.
want just the top 9 things that are like no
That's what I was gonna
brainers,
say.
like these are things that are
What
not
would you
even
say? A
non-negotiable.
chin tuck?
No, Dana, I'm not going to say because I want
Eye
to go, oh,
job.
yeah. Because,
Yeah.
We would disagree.
No.
Oh, no.
no, you can't. You have to roll with
You,
it.
you just get nice work, good work. That's the key. Good work. So people just don't know you got work.
Well, Tony, let's
see.
get
I'm
to
looking
Tony.
at you, Tony.
Yeah.
Tony and I are about the
When is that happening?
We're about the same age.
Do you have that guy's number?
No, this guy, honestly, he was like, listen, I'll do it on the house.
he's
This
on
has to be done by noon tomorrow.
Cutters like to cut. I'll
Oh,
tell
yeah.
you that. Face guys don't go, oh, you don't need anything. They go, we can get
No,
in
they
there
go,
and
get in
dig
there,
around a little bit.
puff
This is
you up.
all natural. I've
might
been
do
here
it.
since Eisenhower's first administration. I won't give my age, but I'll just say I was on this earth with these hands and these feet since the mid-50s.
Voting for Calvin Coolidge.
Look how good I look now.
Tony, let's talk about.
Doing all right.
There's so many places to ask, but I want to know just because I was talking about Vicodin and how I only get plastic surgery for Vicodin. I don't need it. I don't need the
I
phase-
had crazy surgery. I took a Vicodin and hated it. I liked Advil much better.
Ooh, the minority.
Hey, Advil, if you're listening.
I know. Like when the doctor goes, so you broke your leg. You'll want to really pump the Advil. I go, the what?
Yeah.
How fucking dare you?
Funny you say that because I broke my leg in March a year ago tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, this is
hooray.
actually a
Woo!
good
Like,
story,
could you get,
Joe.
where's the celebration?
No, can I get details on that?
No, this is a good story because
But
I know
but
what
I did. I
happened.
was laying there on my ramp with my leg
Was it the
poking out.
femur
Yeah,
or
the
the top?
femur? Yeah.
What was the trick?
McTwist.
It's always a McTwist,
It's always a
Dana.
McTwist.
Well, wait a minute. Were you by yourself?
I was not. But my
Was it in
friend,
a especially
my good friend
dangerous-
Kevin came over about 5 minutes later with 2 Advil. 2 Advil.
Jesus Christ.
I'll never forget that.
Well, that
All right, thanks.
I might do an opioid at that point, But so, was it particularly scary? It seems like a lot of times people get hurt when it's like perfunctory, but they're just not as zoned in as much. or
Dude, your
what?
fucking thigh.
It was a
Jesus.
trick that I have done tens of thousands of times.
Okay.
And I didn't have enough speed going into it, and I knew that full well, but I was always able to figure that out, adjust for
in the
it.
air.
And I guess at age 54, that's the time when you can no longer adjust for it so easily. And next thing I know, I'm just sliding through the flat part of my ramp with my leg. I could feel it just dangling.
Oh,
And I looked up at another friend of mine. I go, I broke my leg. And he's like, what? And then I grabbed it and I put it back in place instinctually.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
But
His
then
thigh,
in that
dude.
moment, I knew like, oh, I'm so fucked. Like I can't move. I can't do anything. I want to rewind this whole moment in time, but
Did you hear
That
it
was
as
it.
well? Or did it pop?
it was all very chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
The fall.
So then
and
you
so I'm
kinda
not really
realize
sure
it's-
how it happened, but I
Yeah.
don't remember hearing it pop. I just felt it disconnect.
Your
Wow.
thigh
And
bone.
what do they do with
Yeah.
that? Do you have a metal rod down your
I
femur
do.
now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How much did that cost?
You know, it's
Couldn't
funny. I
afford
didn't
titanium?
look. I looked at the hard cost of it because I thankfully have insurance.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot. It's more than a house.
Really?
Yeah.
By the way, who was insuring
Really?
you?
Yeah, the home's in my area anyway. Not where you guys live.
Who do you get your insurance from?
I mean, my God, it was like
Bobby's Healing and Band-Aids right on Ventura. No, where did you?
Oh, SAG.
Zach.
SAG.
Oh, SAG.
Blue Cross.
So
Yeah. Anthem.
how long? How is it now?
Well,
Tell
I
this
went
story.
through 8 months of recovery and got back on my skateboard much too soon,
I watched
Mhm.
this whole thing on Instagram play out.
and it never connected. My bone never connected because I was so active on it.
So you rushed it a little bit, and it never
yeah.
grew together.
Yeah, and I kept thinking like it's gonna happen,
Mhm.
and then at some point I realized that I'm just in pain all the time. I mean, like I would have to take a painkiller to get through an airport. And I go, this doesn't feel right for 8 months in. I went and got X-rays and realized the bone had moved further away from where it was when it got
because
it
you were
fixed.
too active.
I was too active. So I came up here to a specialist, and he's the specialist in non-union fractures, which means it would never formed a union.
Oh.
And he put it straight and sent me on my way. And I've been taking it slow, and I'm finally back on my skateboard the way I used to.
Your bone
later.
wouldn't cross union lines?
1 year later. What's that?
Wouldn't cross
Well, I'm
the
supposed to
picket
get a
line.
hip replacement at some point.
I heard
Let's
those are.
do it. Let's do it.
I heard those are very effective and quick healing.
55 minutes open to close.
Yeah.
I've been avoiding it for 7 years, Tony, because they take a saw and
Yes.
saw
I heard
off the
it's
top
noisy.
of your femur.
Sandler
I
just
heard.
did.
I heard it's awesome.
But people
I would
who-
rather go through that than my femur issue.
No,
Let's put it that
yours
way.
would be much worse. But people who do it always say, I should have done this a long
Yeah.
time ago. I like to wait and kind of suffer. It's part of my personality. David's like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm inspired by your healing, because
And he's
you,
tough.
at 24, things heal faster.
Yes.
But you're,
Yeah, I learned that too.
You're
Yeah.
full court. You're fully around now.
I'm on my way. I'm not. I can't say I'm fully
You're not
back
going
to
to
where
push
I
it,
was.
are you?
Yeah.
Doesn't your wife
But-
say don't push it anymore because you're going to break it again?
She is concerned that I am getting a little too ambitious and confident with it. So
Mhm.
I have been taking it as slow as I can. Let's put it that way.
So
I'm much more aware of it this time.
you're still kind of the old gunslinger in a way. I mean, you're the guy who invented the sport, basically, in some ways. I
Oh,
mean,
well, thank you.
popularized it.
Yeah.
I everything I read, it's just Tony Hawk, and you're an icon. I mean, right? I'm not.
Yeah, and
well,
everyone's sick of it.
No, I appreciate it. Thank
you're
you.
attached to the sport.
Everyone's sick of it. You got a point there.
But there's a lot of people on our podcast. My wife
Like, when
loves
is
this.
he just going to quit?
My
and
wife
go
loves
away?
this podcast, and she'll know enough about you just through our sons that did that. And I just for a second before we get into all the questions I have. So at the beginning, because I was reading about your high IQ and you were sort of a difficult because I'm interested in what kind of brain, not even your physical gifts, becomes brilliant at something at age 12.
Yeah, it was just being obsessive and determined to a point of to a fault. Because when I was a kid, I just was I wanted to do certain things and I didn't have the body for it or whatever, but I
That
was
was
always
me.
fired up.
Couldn't
What's
do
that?
football. I couldn't do football.
Well, I didn't play football, but baseball,
I'm
basketball.
saying I could do a little bit of that. Like I was thinking, what other sports are you good at? Because I couldn't do everything, and I went to skateboarding because in Arizona,
it was that. Yeah.
Well, skateboarding is a culture too, which we'll talk about. I mean, it's more than
Sure.
a sport.
And then once I started doing it, I kind of fell in love with the misfit aspect because I never really felt like I fit in with my schoolmates.
So are you saying to me Tony, that you may not have absolute physical gifts like someone who could just, Larry Bird got a basketball and just said,
Right.
came
Or
to him
LeBron,
right
yeah.
away. Eddie Van Halen got his brother's guitar sat on the bed at 8 a.m. and played till midnight.
Right.
It just spoke to him. So when you got on the board, it just spoke to you. And you
It spoke to me, but in no way was I a natural.
a natural. You would do that.
I would just do it, but I would just do it endlessly. Like I would go from school to the skate park, stay there until my mom got off work she worked at a community college at 8 or 9 p.m. And then she'd have to drag me away until they turned the lights off.
Did you ever annoy them? Because bad skateboarding kids are really loud. Like they're constantly falling and banging.
Yeah.
It's not a very relaxing thing as a parent watching bad skateboarders.
You didn't have steel wheels. You weren't that far back, were you?
Not that far back.
Did you have a yellow freeformer with a split tail?
No, but
Jeez, what's going on, man?
Or
He's
or a
flexing.
Bane?
I did have Bane was my first board.
Okay. You like that, Dana?
What?
You like that shit?
Bane?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go back
This
to
guy's legit.
Let me go back to more Larry King type stuff.
Yeah, I do.
So there you are.
No, I have a
But we want to get
psychological-
into the weeds of urethane and clay wheels.
We have a
Clay
psychological
wheels.
question for him.
My son had when I was just talking on the way over here, he just had a comment. He wanted you to comment on, this is jumping ahead a little bit, the turf war at a skate park between the BMXers, the rollerbladers, and the skaters, even though it's called a skate park. So,
Okay.
So
Yeah.
what do you, will you comment please on that, Mr. Hawk?
I'd say
So
rollerbladers
I got
lose.
lucky in that I was a sort of a generation before that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I got very lucky that I was still skating when rollerblading started to be on the rise
Mm-hmm.
because I was struggling to make a living at skateboarding. And I got to be the special guest at rollerblade shows. Like, this is a rollerblade show, but we got special guest skateboarder Tony Hawk
You were
here.
skating.
And
Mhm.
Thank God.
that was paying my mortgage, literally. So I never had the beef. I saw it. I saw it playing out, and people were whatever having bad
Right.
stereotypes with everything.
Yeah.
But I love everyone.
You're like the
Well-
Godfather, though. So if they see you, do you win because you're a skater and they're like, oh, the fucking king is here?
I don't. Is more that I grew up to not that grew up, but eventually I was in all the X Games and doing all that, and then we were all sort of brethren, the BMXers, even the inliners, and the skateboarders, because we rode the same terrain and we were all sort of coming up together.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel that turf war, like you said. I will say that it's tricky when you have a lot of BMXers and a lot of skateboarders at a skate park because BMXers are silent. And
Oh, you can't see them
don't-
coming. You get hit.
You don't hear them coming. Yeah.
Right. Because the rubber tires and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that can be an issue. And so I think that there's some skate parks assign certain days for bikes and certain days for skateboarding. I think that helps.
It seems to me, as a layman, that the rollerblader has the device attached to his feet. The BMXer is hanging on to the device.
Right.
And the skateboard guy has to stand on the fucking thing. And it's like, seemed much harder.
Yeah, there's some apples to oranges there, I got to say.
I guess. I mean, I was such a baby. That was when there were steel wheels back in the 60s. A really steep hill.
Yeah.
I'd sometimes just sit on the fucking
San
thing.
Fran. We used to catamaran down some hills at the Wedge in Arizona. And then big wipeouts at the end when you catamaran
Always.
with your friend. And then
Yeah,
it's
we
almost
would
fun
do
to
it
wipe
down
out.
really steep grass hills just so that we knew we were going to wipe out.
Yeah.
And then we just come
So you
up with
might
grass
live.
things. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
I actually wiped out at High Roller. I'll tell you that in a second, though. High Roller skate
But
park.
can we just finish off this young Tony for a second? Just you're just a quirky kid. You weren't a natural athlete. You got a hold of a skateboard from someone in the neighborhood, or you're 9
my
years
older brother.
Older brother.
Yep.
And then it just spoke to you. You became possessed.
Yes.
And then
Possessed is good. Yes.
within 3 years of that, you were world class. Or where were at 12? It was something. Or 14. It was such a quantum leap.
I started skating around age 10 and then got really into it. As I dove into it completely, it took a downturn in popularity. So it
Really?
was sort of like at the time when I was really starting to come into my own and fall in love with it, the world was crumbling away around me. And so I got sponsored at age 12 by Dogtown Skateboards,
yeah.
which didn't really mean a whole lot. It just meant that sometimes they would send me free skateboards. That was pretty much it. And then I moved up.
So no money.
No, no money. No.
Sponsor. I never knew what that meant, but I thought
That was
Dogtown
a free
the
gear.
coolest one.
Free gear.
for sure.
Free
Yeah.
gear. And then that moved me up to the sponsored division.
Mhm.
And that kind of lit a fire because suddenly I was skating with people who are much more advanced and I had to figure out how to navigate that. And then I rose to the top of the amateur ranks within 2 years. And then I actually turned pro at age 14. But when you turn pro, like that, what that means is I was filling out an entry form to the competition, and there's your name and address, and then there's a box that says amateur, and there's a box that says pro. So I checked the pro box.
That was the only difference.
That was it.
Do
And
you
then I
remember
was
the first
competing.
time you made money? Or sorry, go.
That was competing for $100 first place.
Okay.
75 second, 50 for third. I got fourth.
So no money?
No money.
Do you remember your first check for doing this, or
My first check was $50 when I got third place.
$50?
Yep.
I got paid $3 for my first set.
Ooh.
You got money
Yeah.
for your first set? That's pretty rare.
Rob Williams was there. I think it was $10. I think he took 7. I took 3.
Her.
70-30. Oh, $7. Do you want to be famous? I asked him. Oh, just want to play for the people. Never forgot that. Well, you're playing pretty well. God rest his soul. Good friend. Anyway, Tony, that's
the best.
remarkable. How are your parents reacting to this? And your brother? Is there a sibling thing like Tony's a superstar?
Well, he is 13 years older than me. So,
Oh, okay. So he was
in college and
Mhm.
just kind of watched it. Well, he was there sometimes, but my parents, I think they saw what it provided me just in terms of my sense of self and self-confidence, and finally kind of focusing all of my energy and frustrations onto that instead of them. So they were thankful and they were supportive, and there were very few parents were supportive.
because of the danger of it, or just that because of the culture of it,
stigma,
like
the culture,
you're a
the
surfer
danger.
dude,
And
you're a
you weren't
skateboard-
going to go
yeah.
to school.
Yeah.
Even though there's a rumor you're smart, but we have no proof.
It says here your IQ is 144.
144. Holy
I mean,
shit.
maybe at one point, maybe
You're
on a
at
good
least
day.
half as high as that.
Mine's-
So ridiculous.
yeah, mine's
He's
half
incredibly smart. He's a chess champion. That was his thing.
That's
That's when I got
hardcore.
off of that to go into
Right.
skateboarding, which was a mistake.
So did you?
Some of us didn't go pro, Tony, and didn't get fourth
So you
place.
got paid $50.
Yeah, and then eventually got my own skateboard model, and that's when I started receiving royalty checks for between $4 and $5 a month.
$4 and $5 a month. That's not too
You
$4.85
Did you design
was
it, or you? Well, how did you
I
get your own
designed
model?
the shape of it, and then my sponsor, Pal Peralta, they designed the graphics of it.
bad. Oh.
But then
Okay.
something happened in the mid '80s where suddenly skateboarding kind of came around again,
Mhm.
and I found myself in high school making six figures from royalties on those skateboards.
So you're already an entrepreneur. You're a businessman already as you're a superstar athlete.
Yeah, I didn't see it that way, but
But it would just
yeah.
were other kids doing it as well? Did you have other dudes or women in the school that were
Not
doing
at
it?
school. No.
No.
That was the weird thing, is that there was this resurgence of skateboarding. It was popular, but not a mainstream or
Yeah.
widespread popularity. So I was still the outcast at school. I literally would hide my skateboard in the bushes when I go to school because people would hassle me if I carried it around. They would yell skater fact.
Yeah.
Skater
And
what?
I was pro. I was
heard it.
pro, and I was traveling
Mhm.
to places like Florida, to places like Phoenix, to go to these big events
Yeah.
and sign autographs and then come to school, and I was a ghost.
Can I ask you just a technical question?
Yes.
Because it would seem to me when I watch gymnasts and stuff that you growing to 6'3", is that an advantage, disadvantage, or neutral in terms of doing upside down flips? You have to have a bigger range. The math of that. When did you get to 6'3"?
Not till I was in my late teens.
So you're becoming a brilliant skateboarder and you're growing. And so you're adapting your revolutions to that height.
Yeah, and I was still very flexible when I got tall, so it was to an advantage because I finally was able to get speed and get more height. And because I could ball up, I could still do those spins and things, but at greater heights.
So your height begat
It
the
helped
speed.
me, yeah. I can't say it's helped me into my older age, but it definitely helped me. in
Interesting.
early
Okay.
times.
And-
David?
Okay. Mike's psychological question
I'm the layman. He's a skateboard.
is now, when you grew up in San Diego, and what was the park in Carlsbad? Was it Big O? What's not? It's not. Big O, is it?
So there was Oasis Skate Park in San Diego,
Yeah.
and then that closed, and then Del Mar Skate Ranch was
Yeah,
the last
that's a cool one.
park
yeah.
in that area. Yeah,
Okay, so let's say
Vans.
Tony's.
Do you remember Vans?
Do you remember
Vans skate park?
Vans?
Yeah.
yeah, that's much later.
For one of my kids' birthdays, I bought the place.
Which one?
basically.
Ontario or
it was down
Orange?
It was like Milpitas or something. It's South Peninsula.
Yeah, that was
Vans. That made him the coolest kid in school.
That was a good part.
Yeah.
Now, let's say, because I did get to golf with Tiger Woods, let's say he's the best in golf. That's sort of generally known. And you are, let's say, generally known as the best skater. Is it something in you that makes you not want to give up, number one, because you still skate? You don't really have to skate anymore. You could stop, and Tiger could stop.
Well, I never did it for fame or fortune.
You still like it.
But those things weren't even dreams.
No,
back
I
then.
have the same. I asked my wife, did I ever talk about being rich or famous? Never. I was in the club, and I just wanted to be the best guy in that club. So I totally relate to that.
But in skateboarding, no one was rich or famous when I started.
Yeah.
That was no one could
future.
aspire to that. What do you aspire to? I don't know. I'm going to be pro. Okay,
no one's
so
making money.
You get that $100 check.
Yeah.
And your picture in the magazine. And so that was never the motivation. And so having come this far and having success I would have never dreamed, I still just want to skate. I mean, it really is.
But do you want to push it that hard?
You're the first superstar.
I think I've turned a corner on that, to be honest.
I mean, you've proven everything, but I guess it's still fun to be like, you're still as good as everyone. We go to comedy clubs. You still want to do as good as these guys. You know, it's the same thing.
Sure. Yeah, I can't. That's the thing, though. I can't phone it in. And
everyone's watching you.
I can't. Yeah. And so if I were to feel like I'm not really of a professional level, I wouldn't do it in public or on camera.
Yeah.
But I still walk the walk.
I totally relate to what you're saying. You know, when I go to do a day, I can't help it. I just want to dominate. But it's not in an unfair way. Like you have your peers,
just to do your personal best.
Yeah.
And not because you want to destroy everyone else.
No. But it becomes a de facto comedy competition sometimes, and there's a lot of subjectivity to it. When 10 guys go on and we're supposed to be just hanging out at the comedy store doing our sets, but it's always like, oh, you had the best setter. He couldn't follow you. It's a gunslinger thing.
Right.
But yeah, it's not as much with Dave and I. We don't.
Well, I did enjoy you guys after Chris Rock.
Oh, you saw that?
I saw that.
Did you sense the awkwardness because we were Caucasians?
No, I think you guys handled it very well.
I didn't want anyone to figure that out, but they did right away.
Well, they were, it was good. We were there to facilitate, but, I can't join in on those conversations.
No, but I thought you guys did a good job
Well, we
moderating
wanted to
it.
joke. First of all, we liked everybody there. All the panel was cool. We hung with them all day.
I love JB.
JB's funny.
He's
You know what?
hysterical.
He came out of his shell that night.
You know what?
Finally.
For the first time,
You finally
With
opened
some
him up.
poking and prodding.
Yeah.
The guy
He
would
lit
talk.
his cigar backstage. He'd held it for 20 years.
That's right, the whole
He goes,
day.
that went so good, I'm going to light this up. I said, JB, you are smooth. Because that's my
Arsenio
name.
smooth. He was nice.
No, we know, and we've known Chris, David's especially close with Chris, but known him since 1990.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That was sort of how it came about. Like, we had a podcast. We're always together. We're together anyway. SNL. It's Chris. We're all buddies. Let's put a panel together. Because they want to make the event bigger.
Mhm.
So why not? We'll talk about it. But there's some stuff in there. If I had some heavy controversial opinions, I would say them. But I didn't really. I just watched the jokes, liked them, said a few funny things. But when it got really heavy things, I don't want to comment. I mean, I want to let them talk. And that was why we were all
had the
there.
same thesis, but it happened to Chris, and he owned it and expanded it. But I thought it was always about something else, that anger,
Right.
with the wife. I mean, it was pretty obvious, but he laid it out perfectly. And what was fascinating to me is that very rarely does the world watch, quote unquote, the world. And we all know the story.
Oh, yeah.
We all saw the slap and all the reaction. And then a year later, we have a guy who got connected to it in such a way, because Chris doesn't flub lines.
Mhm.
But I think the emotion was so strong at that moment, which made it better because it was live and real,
Yep.
that this was more than a mic drop. He was working some stuff out. And you just wonder casually, is this over now, or
I mean, me,
will there be
Dana,
another
Chris,
special next year?
We've all been bullied. Me and Chris used to talk about it. I was pushed around Arizona. I was always a pipsqueak. And I hated it, and Chris hated it, and I'm sure Dana got a little bit of it. And
Well, no, way more.
when you get older,
I got bullied by a grown man,
Your family.
knocked out
Yeah.
and shit. Yeah,
yeah, and so when you get like that, I can see when things like that set you off, road rage shit, because people try to fuck with me. They'll hit on a date right in front of me. They'll go, "Oh, this guy gonna say anything?" Or they'll say that you're not gonna do shit, and that anger builds up over your whole life. And so Chris getting that on stage at the Oscars in my head, I was like, I don't know if I could continue life. It's so humiliating, and then you don't fight back. Should I have? So you go on, and Will, I thought got off pretty easy because banning from the Oscars is one thing, but banning from getting an Oscar I thought should be stronger. For a couple years.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go to the silly award
Who
show.
cares? Go to the Vanity Fair party and just wait and watch people walk in.
And they'll bring it in on a platter.
Yeah, I saw him there after the Vanity Fair party. And then I
Yeah,
saw
I saw
Chris at
that.
Gallo's, and Chris was pretty cool.
So I saw Chris the next morning.
Where were you?
I was staying up here, and I saw him at breakfast.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and he was alone at a
Were you
table,
at
and
the
I just came and
BHH?
He's
sat with him
always
for a little
alone.
bit.
Well, tell us what you said to him.
I just said I thought that you handled that like a
Yeah.
maestro,
Mhm.
and he said, "Yeah,
It's
I don't
still
think that had
hard.
anything to do with me." But he already had a clear piece of
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah, he has his own history with
Right.
It's
that,
smart
that
to sit
family,
on that. Sit on it
basically.
for a year.
Yeah, a year, yeah.
It's got to drive him crazy, but at least he let it all out, and it was great. I feel like he's
I think that was a literal mic drop. I don't think he got it all out. I don't think he has anything else to say.
Right.
But I hope it continues. People have said to David and I, if we had a real feud, this podcast would blow up.
we're trying.
Ooh,
So I'm trying to find a way to get mad at
Do you
him,
think
but
I
he's
can-
pretty mellow.
You wanna be part of it,
insert
Tony?
a wedge here. Let's
wanna be
see.
in on
Pretty mellow.
How
I'm
do I
trying to
do
work
that?
up anger, but
You're
I
very
just can't.
wedgy.
I want to have credit for that. No, but what you say about bullying, I mean, and in our day, it was you got picked on.
Yeah.
They're always picking on me. We pick on him, and that was totally accepted.
Yeah, and
There were no resources.
And a lot of it is not grandiose. Like a lot of it is just the guy in the locker room just takes the back of your neck and just quickly just pushes you down to
Yeah.
the floor. There's
They
just
used to,
that. It's not
knowing
always.
you're going to do nothing.
because I was so small, they would pick me up in the hallway and spin me around once.
By the way, nothing more humiliating.
Now that's why you were so great doing 360. You got to thank the guys.
I said, let's go. Wait, let's go 2.5 this time.
This is
I was working up to a 900.
Tony Hawk became brilliant
Yes.
because of bullies who would flip him, throw him in the air, throw him across the room, roll him down the hill. By the time
Dude,
you're on a
you-
skateboard, you go, no one's trying to hit me. This
I don't
is
think
easy.
you get picked up like I do. When people pick me up at a party, I fucking flip out. And to this day, it happens. I go, if you pick me up, we're dead for life. We're not friends ever again.
Oh my
It's like the
God.
most humiliating
I would get
asshole
picked
move.
up too. Yeah, and they'd throw you against the locker.
I had a girl pick
And that
me
was
up. I
my
go,
mom.
"Nah, that's it.
That's it.
After I came in my pants, I said, this is over. Surprise ending.
Happy surprise. So Tony,
Well, Tony, let's ask him about the movie we did. We have to talk about
oh
that.
yeah, okay. Well, I just
Oh, go ahead. You got
I'm
something else
still
before
so
that?
fascinated how. Well, just to make one casual observation, the
Very
sport went fallow for a while.
Yeah.
You come up, you're emerging right as the sport is going, and so you're the first. That I don't know if there's a second or there are these after superstars, but to the casual observer, you are skating.
Yes.
I mean, how many people? Their name is a brand.
It's funny because I don't know. I know skating. I know some names, but
It's synonymous.
To
Tony
equate
Hawk.
with Tony is at that level. I don't.
Yeah.
think there's
I can tell you, I credit a lot of that for a successful video game.
Oh, that's right. Because your name
Because our game
was in huge letters.
had huge success.
They're gigantic. Yeah.
That was where
and-
you made the most money, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
And they're still
so
out
people would see my name synonymous with a successful video game. So that kind of added to the recognition factor.
Well, that's the cool thing is that you're the video game guy, and then you're still actually the best guy
Oh, well,
who
thank
can
you.
physically do it.
Doesn't always happen.
So that's so much power. So how did the video game how did that come about? They approached you, you got to a certain level, and a company approached you, and were you in on the design of it and so forth and so on?
So I was actually working with a PC programmer who came to me and said, "Hey, I have an idea for a skateboard game."
nerd,
What's that?
nerd.
We were two nerds.
Nerd alert.
Literally
Nerd alert.
knocking on doors. We were going to console manufacturers. We were going to software companies and saying,
How
"Oh,
old
you
are
wanna do
you?
this?" So this was like around 97, 96, 97.
So you're huge though at that point, right?
Yeah.
There's sort of a gap in skating's popularity in the early 90s.
Mhm.
So it went underground very much so, and that's kind of when street skating emerged.
Okay.
So this game, they don't come to you fully formed. They say,
So
do
you're
it with us.
pursuing
Well, no, what
Put
happened
it
was
together.
he and I went to meetings and we just got shut down everywhere we went. They said skateboarding's not popular.
Classic.
Why would anyone want to play a skateboarding game?
Okay.
And at the time there weren't that many home consoles. There were some, but not it wasn't.
Did you go to Nintendo or
no?
Atari
So
or-
he gave up. He got frustrated.
Okay.
And he actually told me, he said, look, I got to find a job, but I feel like we've made some headway in terms of putting your name out there that you're interested in doing this, and then maybe something will come of that. And I remember thinking, yeah, okay, buddy, sure. And then almost a year later, Activision called me and said, hey, we heard you want to do a video game. I said, well, yes, very much so. And they said, well, we are doing a video game of
About
skateboarding and we'd like your input or to see if you want to get involved. So I went up to Activision and they were working on this game that was based on an engine that they had already made for a game called Apocalypse starring Bruce Willis.
Okay.
And it was the first game that had a celebrity lookalike or, you know, their
Avatar, I guess they call
Avatar,
it.
sure.
Yeah. Not the movie, but just
not that, yeah.
literal definition.
And his voice. But it didn't do very well. But the engine was perfect for skateboarding.
The engine means
the motion.
The motion in the game. Got it.
The first time I ever played what became Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was Bruce Willis on a skateboard with a gun on his back doing kickflips.
Okay.
Like through a desert.
And it was Bruce Willis. That's hysterical.
Yeah, that was it.
Was there a breakthrough moments or an epiphany like how to make a skateboard thing as exciting as a war one or something?
When I played the game, I knew then like this is the way it should.
Because you're feeling it.
I'm feeling it and it was intuitive. And suddenly I was doing tricks right away.
Right.
So I thought with my resources, we could probably make something that is legitimate. I wasn't thinking it was going to go gangbusters because I still heard those voices saying, who would want to play a skateboard game?
Right.
And when I told them, I had a Nintendo 64 at the time, and I said, oh, we're going to make this for Nintendo 64? And they go, no, we're making this for PlayStation.
PlayStation.
There's a million PlayStations out there. There aren't a million Nintendo 64s. And so I went along with that, obviously.
Wow.
And then
Another smart idea.
not long after, when it had success in the beginning, they called me and they said, you get your wish. We're going to do Nintendo 64.
Great.
I was like, cool. And then we ended up doing all the systems.
And did the first guy, you wet the beak on him a little bit or not? Did he go away for good?
Show business term, wet the beak.
Give him a
little
taste.
money.
Yeah.
Little taste.
No, I felt bad for that guy.
Oh,
but-
he's totally.
Well, so you had gross points. I mean, I don't know, whatever, but you're an
You did
owner.
fine.
You're an owner. And so being an owner is king. And
oh, yeah. I mean, it changed my life.
So it just starts rolling in. And then it gets bigger
did you
every year,
evade
right?
taxes?
By the time the fourth game, no. I remember my first, I remember writing my first check to the IRS and thinking, this is more than the money I'd ever think I'd made in my lifetime.
It's
give
That I was
away.
giving to the IRS.
So the rich
Tax
do pay.
man.
The rich pay their fair share. The only one who did it was Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk.
I'm this. Yeah, I couldn't figure out the loopholes.
That was Joe Biden. Sorry.
I got it.
He gets it. you
Anyway,
know.
well, everything seems to be going well at this point in your existence. The game has kicked ass. You've won so many X Games, world champion.
Done a lot of commercials.
You land a 900 at some point. How long did it take you?
I
How
saw
big
that
a deal
whole
was
video.
that for you?
That was for me. That was my best exit from competition.
So you were thinking, I'm going to land this. And
That wasn't.
and then
There was
retire.
no plan.
Oh.
It was all spontaneous that night. Honestly.
So you just thought, so just because I was trying to explain it to my wife and my sons, you're going up in the air really, really high. You're going a full revolution in your body, another full revolution, and then a half
And then
a
a half,
revolution, which, 360, 360, 180, and then hit it.
Right.
And that was a little Mount Everest kind of thing? Or
For me at that time, yeah, because it's
Once you
something
got it,
that
yeah.
I had been trying off and on for 10 years. I did the first 720 in 1985.
and that was huge at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, in the skateboard world, but the skateboard world wasn't huge.
Oh, okay.
There were no X Games. There was no social media.
Oh, okay, so no one really.
Does it
I
have
know.
to be filmed, or do they take your word for it?
I got a sequence of it. I mean, back then there was Bones Brigade videos were out, kinda, but really it was more about did it get in the magazine? So I got a small sequence in Thrasher.
Teach all those photos
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I got a small sequence in Thrasher doing a 720.
Fuck
that was
I probably saw.
a big thing on a backyard ramp in Sweden.
So when you landed the 900, what competition were you
That
in?
was at the
What
X
kind of
Games.
pussy-
At the X Games. That
1999,
was global television. What?
I said, "What kind of pussy did you get?" I thought that's what you're saying. I thought that's where
we're
you're going.
going, for mature audiences only. Is that on the video game?
I thought that's where you're headed.
Not quite.
No, so you do the. I get all serious. So what? So you do
So
the
about the-
900. So
You're asking.
So when
what-
to answer
how
your
many women
question,
well, he's
wanted it?
famous. He's out there
to
in
answer your
Sweden.
question, I was trying it off and on. I couldn't figure it out. I got hurt a couple times doing it, and then when that event happened in '99, it was the best trick event, and I had one trick planned for that event, which was
Mhm.
not the 900. It was a variation of a 720, and I made that early on, so I
Mhm.
had 10 minutes to kill in this event, and the announcer, the live announcer for the audience that was there, said, "Why don't we see one of those 900s?" And I was like, "Great!"
Oh,
Like now I'm on the spot.
crowd.
Okay,
crazy.
so
I
I'll
watched
try
this. Yeah, I watched this last night.
This isn't the
Yeah.
one where you kept trying it. Is that the one?
I kept trying it. Yeah.
That's one where you go over and over
It's
and
like
over.
the 10th one, and then they all
Right.
mobbed
And
you.
everyone
all-
almost gave up, and then you kept doing
yeah,
it.
well, I think after my third or fourth attempt, I realized that this is the closest I've ever gotten.
Mhm.
So there's no way I'm going to give up. It's either I'm going to make this or they're going to take me away.
Or you're
on
going to
it.
get hurt or
And
something.
what do you
something's-
think? Are you thinking right as you take off, like to get height, right? To get as high up?
There's
Or what
there's
are you
kind of-
thinking?
there's a bunch of elements, but speed for sure. It's
Mhm.
got to be a certain height to
Mhm.
get that much spin
Mhm.
rotation. The snap is when the
You pop the
moment
spin.
you leave the
board-
ramp.
The ramp, yeah.
You got to have a snap where you you hit your tail and you grab the board at the exact same time. And if that doesn't happen, your board just flies away immediately, and you're stuck kind of
You're
spinning in
spinning.
space.
Oh, right as you're about to go airborne, you got to grab your board, so you're attached
Right.
to it.
And so if you
Yeah.
get a good snap, then somewhere in the middle of the spin, you have to shift your weight towards the front foot. That was the part that I couldn't figure out all those years.
Whoa.
Oh, interesting.
And so, I mean, sorry, not towards the back foot. So you spinning, if you just spin the way that you take off and try to land, you're too top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to figure out how to sort of shift my weight to the back foot mid spin. And that's what you see me working out at the
You
X
mean when
Games.
you land, you'll go face first. You won't.
I did go face first the first time I ever tried to make it. I
So
broke my
that's why
rib.
you go. I gotta
But
get
with
the
the weight on the
yeah.
back foot, it seemed like when you did do it, you did sort of a squat, and you
Yeah,
had
well, that
a
was
lot-
me overcompensating.
right, but you didn't leave the board. You
Right.
set the record. But
Yeah.
that was like, yeah, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, you know, because I do when I used to skate. It's fun to watch once I quit because you sort of know a little bit about it enough to know which tricks are hard. So when
Right.
I see Instagram and I'm like, God damn, like it got so beyond what I could ever do. I was
It's video games now. Like the tricks that you see
yeah, I can't
on
imagine.
Instagram or the pros that you see out there, especially street skaters, it's the kind of thing that we did on our video game in combos as a joke.
Because you know you could never do it.
Yeah, no one will ever do
You're
this.
right.
And now they're doing it.
Yeah, has the equipment gotten better then, or is there?
The equipment hasn't changed
It's
that
about the
much.
same.
Hasn't changed?
It seems about the
Okay,
same.
you think they'd have like they have, plates on track shoes, people running 4-minute miles, high schoolers,
Yeah, no,
carbon,
it's just
carbon
skating with
plating.
just trial and error.
Okay, so they're all about the same weight. They're all about the same.
But it's also
wheels.
like when you think about the generations that have come before, the generation coming in now establishes that a 900 is possible,
Mhm.
or these tricks, these combos are reality.
Mhm.
So that's the baseline of which to start.
You could even go
Yeah.
crazier.
Yeah,
You know,
fascinating.
they used to have these things, Dana, called sky hooks. So if
That
you
was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Tony knows what it is. If I was like, it was hard for me to when I got to doing aerials at the old high roller skate park in Arizona, and so when you have to leave the top of the pool, that's being a colossal pussy. This is a doctor telling me this.
That's three pussies on this.
Yeah, no, that's just saying I am not tough. So
all with different connotations.
it's a
Oh
fear.
yeah, total different meanings every
It's
time.
a fear thing, Dana. Once you leave
Oh
the top
come on!
of the
Don't
ramp,
be a
or the-
baby. I'll be
it's-
my dad.
it's
for a
too
second.
scary. And then so I wiped out a high roller trying to do an aerial axle stall. I think I've told Tony this before. And so
Which, but to his credit, is a pretty gnarly trick.
it's a hard trick. If
It's
you're-
hard and it's dangerous.
And so you go up. I think David Andreich, someone did
You get
those, right?
speed. You go
Yeah,
up off
David
the pool.
Andrew.
You
you're
go
in
up out of
air.
the pool. It was a pool at the skate park, and
Okay.
you go up and you land on your axles, and then you drop back in.
Okay.
Landing is the hard part. Dropping in I could
Mhm.
probably do, but I missed it and I wiped out and I fell backwards into the pool and broke both wrists. Now, everyone, all the concerned skaters go, get the fuck out of the bowl.
yeah, yes.
So, because I was laying there.
And you had
And
two
so
broken wrists.
I
and
had to
they're yelling
drag
at
my
you.
board up, and it's hard to walk up from the deep end of the shallow end. It's like slippery. So I get out, and I'm laying on my brother's. We had the Lee car, and Andy got mad because we just got to the skate park. We had 2 hours, and so I'm laying on the car on the windshield, and Andy they go get Andy, my brother, because he saw me. He goes, just go in the car. We're out of here in 2 hours. And so
Oh my God.
the skate park person saw me kind of shaking on the car. I didn't say anything. I knew I was in trouble. And then they went and got Andy, and he comes and throws his helmet. He goes, "What the fuck? You're fine, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "No, you got to take him home. You can't stay." And he goes, "Fuck." So he throws me in the car, and he goes, "I'm going back." So he dropped me to my stepdad.
And he went back to the
and he
skate
went
park.
back, yeah. And then I sat there, and then my stepdad was buzzed because it was night. He was just
Well,
drinking.
it was morning.
And he took me to his clinic and x-rayed him. And I saw a crack down both of them around his corner. I look around the corner. I go, I didn't even go to med school. I see something going on here.
Did they set
Something
them?
looks off.
He goes, "Let's sit on this."
Oh.
He was drunk. I go, what are we waiting for? So I lay down, and I don't, we don't have Vicodins back then. We don't have anything. So I'm just laying there, sort of whimpering. I was whimpering. And then the next day, my mom goes,
justified.
"Take him in and do something." So he just gave me splints. So then the first day of school, I went as a freshman. I had 2 splints, but I looked like a badass. I had my Quicksilvers. I had my fucking OP shirt, carrying
God, you guys,
Skateboarder magazine.
I didn't. We got injured in different ways. Like my brother popped the wheelie. That's what we do on ours.
Yeah.
Popped the wheelie. The wheel
BMX.
comes off, chips his teeth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the forks go down. You go, this
Yeah.
is just a waiting
So
to
he's
happen.
like got fangs for a while. They finally got him, caps on him, and then he's doing a Duncan Imperial, going with the yo-yo.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, broke him
We're
again.
so old.
Pretty sad.
That's twice. You guys were daredevils.
Then
We
he had a
didn't hurt.
slinky.
Then he got a slinky
Broke his
and
leg.
he lost an ear. Look, I don't want to go into the Carvey. We were rough and tumble 60s
Jeez,
kids. It
what a
wasn't
tough household.
nothing was safe, trust me.
I knocked my teeth out, my front teeth 5 times.
God
Wow.
dang, is you really?
Yeah. But the cool thing about that is every time you knock
cool
them out,
thing.
you can choose the size and the color.
Oh,
the next
one.
ones.
You have a very positive
But
attitude.
in your adult life,
Yeah.
that's a thing, right? So
How many bones do you have broken in your body? Everyone wants to know.
Everybody.
4 officially.
4 officially.
Yeah. My
Okay.
pelvis, my elbow, my femur, and I broke my thumb basically.
Concussions.
How many bruises roughly?
Concussions?
I've had many.
Yeah.
My son
You
did,
seem
he used
like
to
you're
do
pretty
ramp
together,
rats. Ramp rats with BMX bike.
Uh-huh.
You know. You find out later, but he was out cold for 3 minutes once.
Yeah.
Well, concussions weren't talked about a lot in the old days.
No,
about
you just hit your head hard. They didn't
Yeah.
know.
Bell
you
rung.
know.
Yeah, you got his bell rung.
shook
But
up.
they say multiple
Yeah.
hard hits is the hardest thing on your brain.
Or
Within the hundreds.
in succession.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's one after the other in a short time. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I've been proactive in that, and I've had the tests and to see if I'm at risk for Alzheimer's, and it seems that I'm doing all right.
I see a lot of dudes on these Instagram with no helmets doing some gnarly stuff.
Yes,
A little scary. It's kind of a skateboarder
Scary.
cool thing to do, but it is not the smartest
they
thing
were
to do.
trying to when they put skateboarding in the Olympics. There was a there was a movement which I found odd to not have helmets in the park event.
Yeah, you can
And
zing
the park
your board
event
out.
where people are flying,
Yeah, you're doing rail slide.
Mhm.
That's it when it's flat, you're saying? When it's just street stuff?
not when the street they're not. But what they were saying
Oh,
in the park
invert?
event, we shouldn't have to wear pads. And I was like, you guys are. I was not in the conversation, but so you guys are flying 10 feet above 10-foot pools.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go well for the general audience.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
No, it's not like it's supposed to be kind of a fun game.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I picture parents going, "Yeah, you're never going to do that."
Does the skateboarding culture, does it overlap with surfing in a way, or is that a bad vibe that it's not necessarily a cannabis culture?
It was kind of
I'm just throwing
well,
that
I'd say skateboarding is so diverse now that I
Mhm.
wouldn't just zero
Yeah.
in on something like that. I feel like this definitely has been associated with skating.
But they had the phrase surfer bum. Do they have skater
Right.
bum?
Skate rat. I think is
Skate
more
rat is
appropriate,
more
yeah.
like just someone who
Yeah.
Yeah.
lives.
But I think on the outside, especially in those days when skating wasn't very popular, there was a sort of view of skating that was, they're slackers, they
Yeah.
wake up late, they're stoners,
right.
and I guess you could view it like that. But I feel like skating requires so much discipline that was sort of being
Yeah,
ignored.
it's very technical.
that's true. We
My-
were sort of outliers because you didn't fit in anywhere at our
Exactly,
school.
yeah.
So my brother and I.
Yeah.
We
Joey-
took my kids to Europe, and they because we were middle class kids, got some money. We're in Italy, but all they talked about was statues and monuments. I could catch so much air off that.
Oh yeah,
Everything was about what they could skate off of. You know,
Yeah.
kind of
Any angle.
I remember when one of the Powell tours went to the Vatican, and I tail dropped off one of the sculptures, and
I'm sure they love
people
that.
didn't really like that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you were in the Vatican and skateboarded
I mean,
off
in
a
the
statue?
Vatican City, in the
in
outdoor
that
area.
there, yeah.
But we were just skating. That was the thing in those days. All we cared about was skating. So it was
Anything, yeah.
the sightseeing
anything.
was just more incidental to
Right.
us getting to skate that day.
Stairs. What was that? What would you get most excited about? Just in sort of urban
Back in those
environments?
days, anything that resembled a ramp or a bank
Mhm.
or like a reservoir.
Even
Reservoir.
Kettner School here, I used to see in Skateboard Magazine. So when I came here, I had to go find it. And it was kind of lame. It was just slight banks on asphalt, but it was something.
Yeah,
Dude.
that was the early days.
Do some Bertelmans.
yeah.
You know, show off a little bit.
Bertelmans.
Oh, yeah, just a little.
That's
What's
a surf
that?
term.
Is that right?
I do little tail blockers because there's really no danger to it. You
blockers.
just turn around.
I have a
drop
photo
back.
in
I'm
the
representing the audience at home.
In the first Bones Brigade newsletter.
Yeah.
I had a photo doing a Bertelman at Cantor Banks.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Jeez,
You know
we
what's
used to
a
go
good
to
photo?
Bertelman's Deli.
A good thing is if Tony's a photographer across me, if you go up to him and there's a camera low and you do a tail block, put your hand out and then
Oh,
turn.
yeah.
That's a good
That's the
picture.
hero angle.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one. Let's talk about the movie. You were in Jackass too before we get to Police Academy.
All of them.
you were in all of them.
Yeah.
And did you do, Dane, have you seen when
Well, you
they
were
go
in
full
some kind of
circle,
blown up suit. or
full
whatever?
pipe?
Yeah.
Did you do it? Did you do a full pipe in a chicken suit or something?
I did. Yes.
I was about to say, it
Yeah.
sounds like possible.
Let me.
That's
correct.
Johnny Knoxville.
I did that for Jackass
Yeah.
with Matt Hoffman.
the
He and I-
TV show?
the TV show.
Okay.
He and I wore.
Oh,
chicken
he was a
shoes.
BMXer, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we did a loop in Orlando, and then after the loop, we jumped into this lake.
Oh, that's fun, yeah.
And then I was on Wild Boys, and we were skating in gorilla costumes.
It's never easy.
We were also skating with an orangutan, so that was the whole vibe. There was an orangutan that skated, and then Bob Bergquist and I dressed up in gorilla.
Did the
costumes,
orangutan
skated.
think you were gorillas or did it knew you
No,
were?
but
Okay.
it did not like if we got ahead of him. So we
Competitive?
learned very
Yeah,
quickly
very
that
competitive.
he's in it to win it, and we're going to stand behind because you don't want him coming after you.
In your
But we ended up skating.
They chew your face off, I heard.
Yeah. We ended up skating
Side note.
just to fill the content, and then we went and did. Bob had his own loop, and we did Bob's loop, and Bob's loop was very slow and weathered, and I didn't take that into consideration as I went down to it, and then I ended up paying the price.
Did you not get around the whole thing? You're saying
I fell from what happens. I fell just around 10 o'clock
Yeah.
going up,
Mhm.
and that makes you go all the way to the top and then fall.
Oh,
So I fell 16 feet. That's when I broke my pelvis.
And
shit.
were you in the orangutan suit at that point
Yes.
or some other suit? Was the orangutan suit
That was for Wild Boys. Yeah.
was it padded?
not
No.
worth it?
No, that was extra. We don't got any
No.
budget. for
And
that.
I was wearing the mask, so I wasn't wearing my helmet. So that was a big problem. I got a concussion.
But a
Fractured
loop
my skull.
for people at home, you just go straight down fast like a Hot Wheels, and then you do a whole loop,
A whole
and
loop,
you
yeah.
lose all your momentum at the top, and you want to bail, I'm sure. But if you just hang on, you're fully lightweight. I'm sure you're full.
If you have the right amount of speed, you just hold steady and it works.
And it will stay on.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but the
Mhm.
problem with Bob's is that it was so weathered you couldn't get that amount of speed.
I like how no
So
one
I
gives a
tried to
shit.
compensate by using my legs, and if you use your legs, then you end up completely straight leg with nowhere to go.
Okay.
Have you ever studied geometry or physics? Because it sounds like you got to know speed. It's wind. It's
Yeah,
like
well, the first time I ever did
angle.
it, I actually did a Hot Wheels and tried to measure that and do the ratios of how that would work. And it
Mhm.
worked the first time, but
right.
this time it didn't work.
It seems like there's a lot of thinking that goes into these tricks that maybe not,
Not
every
usually.
skateboarder
Yeah,
has.
I was about to
Usually it's
say.
just intuitive.
No, it's just try.
Right.
I don't like they gave you a shitty ramp.
If I get here, I'm going to fall there. I got to get speed to get this velocity and this angle. I don't know. Sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
we're just kind of going off of feeling. We didn't have foam pits or
Mm.
training grounds.
right.
So it's like David, like he tried air to axle stall and came down hard, broke his wrist.
Yeah, by the way, we did this movie in the old days. I was trying to jump the simple thing of stairs.
Just seeing if your wrist has a bump.
No, I actually broke my wrist again after that.
Skating?
Yeah, and then my mom goes, "You shouldn't skate anymore." I go, "Because it's too dangerous." She goes, "No, you're horrible at it. We have to keep you in school. You keep
We're mortgaging the house to pay for your medical bills.
It got too hard because it was too, I could do the desert pipes. We did those. I could do, and just go to vert and come. I couldn't really do that much.
Those were famous.
Could you do what is it? The pineapple reverse squat? Do you remember that one?
The old dipsy doodle. No, I could do front side grinders. I could do stuff,
Fandango,
but it gets scary, Dana. And it was just when it gets too hard and what they were doing, it separates.
I had a hard time looking at it. My kids coming down steep hills.
Yeah,
didn't want to wear helmets, but put the helmet on. And I, because of childhood trauma, I had to look away. My wife could just watch them, but I would just look away.
Scary.
Oh, they made it. We had 23 ER visits between the two sons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have the cell number of the head of the ER.
Down there by you, in your secret
They have
location.
a special lane. Yeah. Tony, he's coming in on Tony Drive. Okay, put him in
we
Hawk
have several children, and they all went through their share of injuries because they all skate. So that too.
And is Riley a pro?
Riley, my oldest son, is pro. Yes.
Yeah, he's good. He's cool.
Oh, that's cool. So, do you think when you see him becoming that good, do you see yourself in him intellectually, or
I see his determination and his drive to keep trying to outdo himself.
Yeah,
very much so. He's more of a street skater, so that is not my wheelhouse. But I do see the same sort of motivation that he has that I have.
It's kind of true of all successful people.
It's hard that he's that good because he's got this guy as a dad, and it's hard to be good anyway.
He kind of shied away from skating when he started getting good because of that.
It's weird. It's definitely weird.
But came back to it because he had so many close friends that were just hardcore skaters, and kind of found his own path after that.
Well, once you're making a living at something that's a passion, it's a very nice thing. So he is professional.
He is. Yeah.
And I always wanted to make the same amount of money I could as a waiter. Like maybe $1,500 a month.
Right.
And once I got to $600 a month, I was able to put
down
the apron. I made $600.
We made $600 on this podcast alone.
By the time you finish that sentence. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Two jokes.
No, life's been good. But to your point, and it's for everybody who excels at things. The passion has to come first, and just wanting to get better at it. Wanting to get better.
I do see. I have seen skaters come and go because their motivation is fame and fortune, and if they get a taste of it, then they don't want to skate anymore, or they don't want to push themselves.
And also, if that's your moniker, it's like Lorne Michaels, one of his. The minute you're hot, you feel yourself getting less hot.
It's hard to stay.
So in other words, if you're a fame whore, you're just like,
Yeah.
I like to stay home. I don't want to go anywhere. Dave's a man about town, but we met. We're different. That's why we have a chemistry. But yeah, I'd much rather watch Friday Night Lights at home.
I have to extract Dana out to dinner once a week.
Every
week or so.
Yeah. I feel you.
But he has a steak dinner and mashed potatoes waiting for him when he sits down. And then he'll have a small cocktail.
Yeah.
I go, are you feeling anything with that 2 pounds of
little micro buzz?
I like a glass of whiskey at night.
Dana, why aren't you asking him about the movie you don't care about? It's Police Academy 4. It's where we met.
Well, this is for our listeners. I have some questions after this, this is the axis of connection between these two. The movie Police Academy
4, the good
David's
one.
in it. Tony's in it. Go, guys.
I got hired just doing improv. I wasn't a good actor. The way I lucked into that, Tony, is I went in. I was very new. I was 21. And I just started doing sets at the improv. And there's casting people peppered around. You just don't know. And then when they called me in and they said, we got a script. Can you come in and audition? I didn't know what I was doing. I would have literally, because my next audition, I just read it off the page.
Yeah.
They go, we want you to read. I go, oh, I can read. And then I just read the script to them. And they were like, you don't know what you're doing. And I go, nope. So the only reason I got that is because they go, can you skate? And I said, yeah. Because I auditioned for North Shore, a movie, and I said I could surf, and I could not.
And did they discover that?
Yeah, they discovered it. Well, I didn't get it. So it got down to me, and Matt Adler, a buddy of mine, got it, and he could surf. So it's about a guy from Arizona, and I go, I have all the components. I can't surf that good. So I
think
do.
You dodged a bullet with that one.
Yeah, I would have fucking drowned.
Surfing
No, but I'm just saying that is one of the most quoted ridiculous surf movies.
Oh yeah, it was kind of goofy. Was it kind of goofy? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I
Kid
mean,
from
it's
Arizona that rides.
there's some one-liners in there that endure, that live on because
Which
of how
movie was
silly
this?
It's called North Shore. Was it?
North Shore. Yeah, and who was in it?
Matt Adler is a buddy of mine. That
Okay.
Laird plays
I
the
remember that.
protagonist.
Oh, he does.
Laird Hamilton is the guy that pulls his leash.
He would have drowned.
Oh,
me
Laird Hamilton. Yeah, he's a trip.
He's
yeah.
the bad guy.
if
Yeah.
he knew
Oh,
I was not good. So anyway, so I auditioned for Police Academy, but when I get there, they go, "We're getting a new script in. It's not here yet." And I go, "Oh," and they go, "Shit, you're here. Do you want to just?"
Oh, perfect.
You want to just ad lib stuff? Well, you're just a smart ass kid, and the lines are so stiff anyway. I would have bombed. So I just started making up stuff.
That's good.
And it was so lucky because they go, "Oh, he's not bad," because I was just free forming. Right?
That's so much.
So I get
better.
hired. I go there. I'm making so much fucking money. I think I was making $2,500 a week. That's a movie. I was in a movie in Toronto, and
That's
they
a
go,
lot of
"You're
money.
part of a little skate gang of misfits." And they go, "Oh, we're gonna get," and of course I knew the Bones Brigade. I knew everything from Arizona.
Right.
And then they go, "This guy Tony Hawk, I think it was Guerrero and Caballero and Mike McGill and
Lance.
Mountain."
Yep.
And so they all came out, and I was so excited because they were rock
Do you remember
stars.
your first impressions of David Spade?
I thought it was super funny. Yeah.
So you
I mean,
started
it was
cracking
one of
jokes.
those things where you go, "Oh, you're really funny. You should be
Yeah.
a comedian."
That was lucky because Tony. The
is
one
funny.
problem we had was Tony was taller than me, and he was. Were you Goofy or regular foot?
I'm goofy-footed.
And so we had Chris Miller.
Well, no, can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
So we all read for that part.
Oh, is that right?
We all read
Oh.
for the part.
Oh,
that
that's
you
right.
got.
Oh, okay, okay.
Or that you and who's the guy
Brian
from Fast
Backer.
Times?
Yeah.
Brian Backer. So we all read for those parts as the Bones Brigade, and they're like, "Yeah, you guys are not actors, but we'll consider you in the gang or whatever."
Mhm.
Okay.
And then
I didn't know that.
they singled out when they hired you guys. They singled out Lance and me as the doubles.
Yeah.
I went through a growth spurt from the time we tried out to the time we got there.
Really?
And so for the first week, they were like, "I think that guy's too tall." And I remember the director saying, like, he's a pretty good skater, but he's a bad stunt double. And so then Stacy kept telling me, like,
Jim
"Stay
Drake.
low,
Oh, crouch.
stay low."
Oh, Stacy Peralta.
Yeah. And I go, I don't know. I was trying. And then they just quietly sent me home. Basically, I got fired.
Oh.
And then they sent in Chris Miller, who looks like you,
Looks a
who's
little more,
and
yeah.
is the same stance as you're.
I'm goofy,
You're
but he
goofy,
was
that's right.
closer. It was a tough decision because you're
Yeah.
goofy and he's
That was it.
regular.
You're- I
Sorry.
remember you're
What does
goofy, but
goofy foot
I'm
mean?
goofy. Oh, that means
He stands with his right foot forward. So do I.
And that's called goofy?
Yeah.
And left foot is called
Regular.
regular. Okay.
And so when I got hired, you remember that was part of the thing. It was like, "Oh, you're goofy footed too." That's what David is. So I went. So in long story short, they sent in Chris Miller, who looks more like him but is regular footed.
Oh, okay.
So in the skate sequence, his stance keeps changing.
It's so crazy.
Wow. I'm going to watch this
So
tonight.
unprofessional. By the way,
But you had a legit skate part, like going through the mall.
I could skate. I could
Yeah.
skate. And then when I go, one time I go, Brian Backer could not skate. He was the other guy.
He was very much against it,
Yeah.
to the point where he's making us very uncomfortable.
As part of the movie? Or
He just didn't want to even pretend, and they needed establishing shots of him skating.
okay.
Even if they
and-
had to pull him on something and he
Oh,
stands
okay. He
there.
didn't want to be.
Yeah, but at one point they did try to get him on a skateboard, and he was very upset about it. And he was kind of complaining to us, and we're like, "Well, we just work here,
Yeah.
but we can help you."
Stacey- Stacy Peralta
Yeah, we
was
do
a great skater and a great director. And one of his bosses, because he's from Powell Peralta, Bones Brigade, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, he's the one who put us together,
Yeah.
and he was the one who got us the audition.
And he did
got us
second
the
unit.
job. Yeah.
He directed us in a lot of those skate scenes, or if not all of them. And one time I go, "Stacy," he goes, "You can skate a little bit." Right? I go, "Yeah." I go, "Listen, on this one, I'm at a pink Bones shirt, didn't I?" have
Yeah.
one? And I go, we're just rolling through the city at night. So I go,
that sounds kinda
and then they
fun.
go, "You go over these steps." And I go, "What is it, 5 steps?" I go, "I can do that." And he goes, "Okay." So I could do 5 steps 7 out of 10 times. So, but when the pressure, so they're all behind me. I don't know if you remember this. Anyway, I'm in front, woohoo, making noises. We looped later. And then we go in and I do the first steps and I fucking wipe out. And then everyone has to wipe out on top of me because they're all like 2 feet behind me.
Oh yeah, there was no. There,
So
Was
there's
the camera rolling?
There's no
'Cause that
adjusting.
probably-
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like
And then
that's
they're
like
cut, and I'm like,
slapstick.
"Eh."
And they use that.
No, I think they
Oh,
just go, "Tony, just do it."
and then you
we need
did
to
it
get one right.
as a stunt double.
Yeah.
that's not
Five steps. Was it nothing for you? That
Not nothing, but it was.
yeah. But
Doable.
It seemed to be a lot for
Well, also,
David.
what we
seemed to be
learned-
very difficult for David.
Yeah.
But what we learned in that shoot is we learned about stunt bumps.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know anything about that. So if we pretended like something was really hard,
Oh,
they would give us
right.
extra money.
Oh,
You did jump a police
interesting.
car.
You're talking
Yes.
about 2 stairs? Are you nuts, boy? I've got
Yeah.
a fee for that one. Yeah, I got
There
you.
was one. It was the when we jumped the fountain.
Okay.
I don't think you were there for that one,
Mm.
but we jumped a fountain. They set up this big ramp, and it just was so janky, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was, the landing zone was terrible, and we were just sitting there sweating. And they're like, "We'll give you each $500 to do this." We're like, "What?
Oh, yes.
Oh, the ramp got a lot
how many
better.
times?
Yeah. Every time I
You want
think
to
you
run
get
it back? Let's keep going."
Yeah.
And that's when we learned that we could stunt
Interesting.
bumps.
Yeah. Stunt doubles. I've been next to guys that were about to take a car hit on my behalf, talking to them. How you doing? Pretty good.
And
They're a little
they never say they won't go again because they get another
I guess they get more money.
chunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every take they do it, they get a bump.
Right. Yeah.
There's
So-
only one time I had a stuntman tap out and I took over.
You took over. What was it?
Weird. Well, it was going inside this big vat of goo, big wooden thing, and Anthony Hopkins was the dad, and he was there, and it's supposed to go under it, and then the goo fills everything, and I guess a little
Scary.
claustrophobia. The guy was a great stuntman, but just got him shook up, so I did it.
You did it?
Yeah, I got underneath the thing,
That's
and I go, well,
terrifying.
fuck, I'm a little guy, I can't skate. I can't do anything, but I'll
Dunk
stay
me in the
down in
goo.
this fucking goo. I come up from the goo, and there's Anthony Hopkins, or Tony, as I call him, or Hoppy. We were close. Anyway, he gave me.
Hop?
He's playing my dad. So anyway, I have questions.
Yeah, give him the questions.
We do this sometimes for fun. Let's see what I got here.
I do want to say though, to end that, I get asked about that all the time.
I do too, all the time.
Police
yeah,
Academy 4.
Police Academy 4
Yeah.
is kind of,
But
it's
Tony-
just one of those comedies of the 80s everybody knows.
From then on, we stayed friends. He would always give me a board. He would always, if I asked for something, we went and skated McGill's ramp once,
Yep.
which I was not good at. And I'm so brittle that I can't believe you still will risk falling because every time I fall, it really rocks me.
I think I got accustomed to the slight pains of
Yeah.
skating, but now as I grow older, things linger more. But I do find that if I stay active, it's easier.
Because
Yes.
but Dana, when I did that thing with Tiger, I was comparing them because they're both like the number one in their field. Tiger is so driven. So we
Yeah.
played golf that night and he was visibly hurt from his back operations. He
Mhm.
he's super cool. He's great. He's reading putts. He was having fun, but I could tell he's in pain. I even asked him, do you think you'll ever play golf again? Because he just got an operation. And I thought maybe this is it. Why I asked him, I don't know. That night, next morning he gets in the car wreck, right? So he
Mhm.
crushes his feet, everything. He may never play again. And he starts to swing. And within a year, he was better than me within minutes. I go, there was a while there where I was better than him because he couldn't pick up a golf glove. And then he goes, I'm better than you. And I'm like, what? How is it that? I thought it
Well,
would take years.
Yeah.
And he's so good at it that once he can just stand up on 2 feet, he's like,
He's playing on one leg now, and
Yeah.
he was also
That's great.
made the cut and was doing badass
Yeah, he's
stuff like
unreal.
a week ago.
it's infuriating. Go
You
ahead.
know, have you ever been like upside down on your skateboard and had the thought in your head like this can't be good, or this isn't going to end well?
The first time I tried 900, yes.
In your brain, it went, this isn't going to end well.
I was like, I don't know where I am. When am I going to hit the wall? Oh, there it is. There's the wall.
Did you
It'll
ever
let me
been
know.
upside down on your skateboard and thought,
another one.
why did I ever really like this?
I think when I first came back to the ramp after breaking my leg, there was the moment of that. Where
Have you
go,
ever been
"Hey."
upside down on your skateboard?
That's how it started.
And the thought popped in your head, David Spade was really funny in Police Academy 4. No, I'm kidding. All right.
He
David,
said,
Almost every day.
have you ever been upside down on your skateboard and gone, my IQ is 144. What the fuck am I doing? Ramming my thighs.
I had a BMX guy who was pro for a while. Chris Duncan say that to me, that he was upside down once and he said, this can't end well. Like he
Oh.
just knew he was out
Terrifying.
of sorts. Well,
Yeah, and also you just anticipate that hit where you're like, I know that I can't prepare for it this time. So when is it coming? And
Yeah.
please make it soon.
have you ever gotten kind of an endorphin high like distance runners do from skateboarding, like a real buzz?
Oh yeah. all the time.
When you land something great,
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
Or anything that I land new to me.
okay.
It's like new
something that I've
jokes for
learned.
us. No joke. It's like if you do a new joke at
No
this
joke.
stage of the game, no joke. New joke.
Have you ever been on your skateboard going fast, had somebody else push a skateboard 5 feet away next to you and tried to jump on that skateboard?
Yeah, that's not as amazing as you would think.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to go, no one could do that. Jeez.
Dana, I saw a guy on Instagram the other day. He hits like a bump. There's a skateboard on the other side. He does a flip in the
Oh,
air.
I've seen that.
That's pretty.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
There's so many
Yeah.
ways I can go wrong. Okay, go.
Has anyone ever used the pun to you? You're just skating by. Has anyone ever said that to you?
You're
No?
skating through life.
Hey, Tony.
Skating
skating
through life,
by,
yeah.
huh? Okay, I'm just curious.
Skating
What makes a prodigy?
by. Phew.
I guess it's determination.
I think
And
a
talent.
lot of determination, discipline,
Mhm.
and it's just it's you know it when you see it.
Mozart, right?
John Bonet. Yeah, all the big ones.
The biggest mistake beginning skateboarders make, Tony Hawk.
The biggest mistake beginner skateboarders make, getting ahead of themselves skill wise, where
Mhm.
they think that because they can ride a skateboard, that suddenly they can do some big stunt, a big
Mhm.
set of stairs, a big
Right.
handrail,
Mm-hmm.
and they do not have all the required elements to that, and it goes horribly.
Because it
And they
looks
get
good on
discouraged then.
It looks
Yeah.
easy on Instagram, Dan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When you see someone
Yeah.
make a trick, you don't realize they fell 30 times.
Fill in the blank. Tony Hawk is. You don't have to answer these. These are like-
A skateboarder, a husband, a father, and a philanthropist.
okay, David Spade is.
You can say all those same ones almost.
A funny
philanthropist.
skateboarder.
Yeah, funny
a really
skateboarder.
funny skateboarder. Not so
Yeah.
good at skateboard, but incredibly funny.
No, yeah.
Um,
take anything.
Let's see. Do you think Evel Knievel could have made some noise in the skateboarding world?
Noise.
He
was a
an inspiration
daredevil.
to me, so by proxy, yes.
God,
So you'd watch him
love
on
Evel
TV
Knievel.
going over cars with his
Yes.
car?
Yeah,
And
I had the wind up.
Oh, yeah. Zzz, SSP.
Yeah.
Which one? Oh, okay. I know you've landed the 900. And I'm just throwing this out. It's going on record. This is going out all over the world. 1200.
Michi Brusco, a current pro skater, has done a 1260.
Was he young? Is he really young?
Tom Shar, you're thinking of Tom Shar.
Okay.
Tom Shar did the first 1080. He was very young.
Oh, yeah.
This is on a bigger ramp, so more airtime. People somehow think that's easier. I don't think that's easier.
Cheater.
Um,
Asterisk.
But
No, it's
but
hard. as
Michi
shit.
Briscoe did a 1260, so he did 3.5.
God dang.
I can't put that in my head.
It's Ringling Brothers.
It's amazing. The humans just want
Yeah,
to keep
it's amazing.
reach for something.
If you look that up, find the clip. It's worth watching.
because in track and field and sprints, it's like 100th of a second. World record by point. Won
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
No, this is a full spin.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That is extraordinary. Where these are just random ones like fear. Where does fear come into it and how do you deal with it right before you're going off? You want to be in an attack mode or
I treat fear in more that I feel confident that I have the skills to do this.
The
as opposed to,
preparation.
Hope this works.
hopefully I can
Yeah.
land it.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's more like I have all the pieces to this. Let's put them together. And I approach it with more confidence than
That's it.
Fear. Yeah.
Have you ever done a rope swing into a lake and you were the kid who would do like all kinds of triple somersaults? And
I would,
stuff?
no, but I was little. I would go off the high dive.
Did you have vertigo at all? Did you look down and go,
Yeah, but I think I just knowing that other people have done it
yeah.
gave me some
Seems
sort
like you
of-
would have been a good high school diver probably with this sort of.
I don't think I'd be that accurate.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm down to do flips, but I don't want to pencil in and
Yeah,
no
yeah.
splash.
You'd hit the
Like,
water, but maybe
I
not.
pencil
wanna-
in,
hey,
I
I'm
like
down.
that.
You know, I'm gonna make it look like a hyena.
I just ask people this anyway. Did you, as a kid, movie or television show blow your mind, make you happy?
Shoot. that's
For
tricky.
Ben Stiller, it was The Poseidon Adventure. I
Yeah,
always give
that
that
was
as
a
an
good one.
example. For me, it was Jason the Argonauts.
Oh, for a TV show?
Or those are movies.
Mine was probably Animal House. one
TV
of
show
those.
would have been Little House on the Prairie. That's Dave's
Oh,
favorite.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I did like it. I like it. I had a
He's
thing
a
for Mary.
huge Michael Landon fan. Has this
Once
some-
Mary got blind, I was like, she couldn't realize I'm a 6. So.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
that's all right. You can pass. These are just
I think I really enjoyed Greatest American Hero.
the movie.
that's the
Oh,
new
there was
best
kind of
one.
okay. So more.
You know what I mean? He was like
Yeah.
this regular dude that
And
had
he-
superhero qualities, and it
That
just
was
didn't
fun,
fit.
yeah.
And he would
I thought
run
it
into
was-
the
I thought it
walls and
was
stuff
fun,
like that.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
My favorite movie back in the day was Fast Times.
Fast Times at
for
Ridgemont High.
Yeah, because
Great
it summed up high
Well,
school
that
for
says it
me.
all. That's
Very cool.
perfect. You
Very
were right
cool.
at the age to hit that.
Yeah,
And Sean
That
Penn's
was probably 82
Stoner
or something.
Dude,
That was great.
yeah. Great
Tasty
movie.
Waves. Yeah, that was a big comedy.
I got to actually clarify a line from Fast Times with Sean Penn, so that was a big deal.
You
for me.
did? Well,
It's coming of age.
what was it?
People think he says all I need
Tasty.
Tasty.
is a cool buzz in Tasty Waves. He said cool buds,
Yes.
yeah.
and that's how I heard it.
That-
Cool, but-
And
yeah.
I got to clarify it with him, and that
He thought he said Buzz.
no, he
No,
said buds. He had to think
people
about
think
it.
Yeah.
he says
People think he
bud,
says buds
because they don't know
Right.
what buds means.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember that line, and it was Buds.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Tony, thank you for talking about SNL for an hour with us.
Well, no, that's part B. We'll talk Tony's audition for SNL. He skates onto 8/8. Lawrence, like, what do you have? It's
Do
called
it. 13
Skateboarder,
million.
dude.
I gotta say, it was a dream come true, and it only happened recently, and I was so thankful.
And you came out and did a cameo. What did you do?
So I was here in LA doing our podcast, Hawk
Mhm.
versus Wolf.
Hawk versus Wolf,
versus Wolf, my
wherever you
friend
can
Jason
find
Ellis,
podcasts.
yes.
And it's also on YouTube.
Yes.
Hawk versus Wolf.
And so I was staying here doing this for a couple days in the studio in Santa Monica,
Mhm.
driving back to my hotel. It's like 6 p.m. and I get a call and they said, "Hey, can you make it to New York by tomorrow night? They wrote you into a skit on SNL. It's Thursday." And I'm,
Fuck yeah.
yes, I can do that.
Let's
do it.
Sure. Stayed there, did my podcast with Seth Rogen and went straight to LAX.
Mm.
I live in San Diego.
Okay.
I'm not even prepared to travel at all.
Right. You just
And went there, bought a jacket upon landing, and they had written me into a script. Literally, all I was going to do was say my name.
not skate
Okay.
at all.
And
you,
it's,
you can handle that.
sure, whatever it takes. It was a skit about that whole thing went viral with the Miss Universe France.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you were in that. Yeah, that's right.
I was going to be one of the judges of that pageant with the Property Brothers. And when it came to me to ask who won, I just say my name. And honestly, when I saw the script, I thought, this is it.
I'm flying out here.
This is a long way to
But also,
go.
like, this is my big break to SNL.
Yeah.
Is that I get to, and then they loved it in the rehearsal so much that they added a line for me. I felt very
Ooh.
thankful,
We're adding a line for you, Tony. It'll be on the cards.
yeah.
Did you say, Lauren, so do I have the it quality? Should I stay and be a cast
I
member?
did get to, at the after party, I got to actually sit with him
Oh.
for a few minutes.
He's
I
quite
felt.
a
Scooch over,
brilliant
let Tony in.
character. He just
Yeah.
says really interesting
I said,
stuff
"Hey,
all
Lauren,
the time.
I'm Tony. He's like, I know who you are.
Ah, yeah.
He would be that.
Yes.
He would be
Cool.
very, very, yeah. I know success when I see it. Dana didn't know how to monetize, but Tony did.
Well, thank you, Tony. Tony's
so
a
Tony
very
Hawk,
cool guy.
just to sum up, yeah, your podcast is great
Thank you.
and all your business endeavors. And I think this will be an inspiring episode. And it doesn't matter what your passion is. You just have to apply yourself and focus. I always say to people, look at your feet. Don't look at the fame, the money. Just look at your feet, literally with skaters.
Yeah.
But just like, am I better today than I was yesterday? And what can I do to get better, no matter what you're trying to do? That's
I
what I
believe
take
that's
away.
good
David, your
advice, yeah.
takeaway is?
Same thing.
Yeah, what he said.
No,
All right,
I
Tony
love
Hawk.
talking to Tony. It's good. He's a philanthropist, does a skate park, builds them, and I think
You
that's
have a
all great.
We have
foundation.
a
You're
charity
giving money, yeah.
called the Skate Park Project.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
For
And you
public skate
help
parks.
save skate parks. That
We help
finances.
build parks in underserved areas.
yes, that's great.
Going for 20 years now.
That's-
Wow. So you're
They give
touching
skate
all-
parks that's sick. You make them better. I don't understand how it works. All right.
safer.
Thanks, Tony.
Tony Hawk, everybody.
This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13, executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman, with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13. Here we go. Tony Hinchcliffe is on today, and he does Kill Tony. A lot of people know him from that. Started the Comedy Store, moved to Austin, the mothership, and they have a great, hilarious, maybe it's called a variety show. What would you call it?
I think it's a new wave variety show, postmodern,
new form. Yeah,
and he breaks down. He's the brainchild of Kill Tony. He breaks down all the different ways it operates for him. He really cares about it. I mean, he's 13 years in, and it's highly thought about. It's not and made to look like people just showed up and they shoot the rehearsal. It's really a fun show.
Right.
Do you think our fans would know about it?
I think they would. I think a lot of them know about it already. I've done it once. I think you're going to do it in the future. It is fun. It's a total crazy shit show. It's a lot of laughs. They have a panel. They have a great audience that a slow build over the last 13 years, and now it's huge. They play Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
They are on Netflix. They're on YouTube. They do well everywhere. But there's a panel, and they usually have a guest comedian or someone, Shane Gillis, Kyle Donegan.
We talk about that, and we also talk about how he accidentally got inside the 2024 presidential election and was, for a while, talked about as the person who might have tilted the election.
Derailed, yeah.
In a different way. And that's a really interesting story.
He did a Puerto Rico joke. That's how some people might only know him, just from hearing about that.
From the Madison Square Garden thing with Hulk Hogan and everything. He was in that, made a joke. It trended for weeks, and it was... got
a lot of attention.
For him.
And then, and he'll tell you all about that. We won't give it away. But here we go. We got Tony Hinchcliffe, very funny guy. Look at that fucking chair.
Yes.
I know. Is there an explanation? Well, I love it personally, but are you on a set? Or are you?
No, this is the middle of my home. Actually, I finally made money after a decade and a half plus of really, really struggling, and I decided, you know what? If I'm gonna buy stuff for my home, I'm gonna do it crazy in the way that I've always imagined in the wildest dreams.
Solid gold chair, first order business.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Championship belt.
That is I know. Is that UFC, Dana White?
That's pro wrestling. That's WWE, the world heavyweight champion. Right now.
So we're catching you at a time because we ask people a lot sometimes because I'm curious about celebrity net worth and things like that. But the first time you make $1 million, or this is your first really grandiose grabbing something, this house, is this the first time?
Yeah. Yep. First time. And it was not easy
city?
to get. It's in the middle of Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes
okay.
sense.
Nice city, nice house. Love it. It's kind of fun when you can actually go look at something nice like that you never even thought you could look at.
It's the wildest thing. There were all these real estate agents when I moved to town. I think they all thought that I already had a lot of money, but I didn't really. I got it here anyway.
Well, we'll break that up.
Yeah, I don't want to push everybody away.
No. We understand that. There's it comes with a price. I mean, you're famous and you're wealthy, and there's stuff that happens. It's not a complaint. It's just an observation. But I'm just curious, like when I was coming through, and I don't know, I got it for a little bit, then I didn't, but whatever. I wanted like a movie theater, recording studio, swimming pool, half-court basketball.
Jesus.
I'm just clicking off things that I would be a really good swimming pool, like a great...
I didn't realize... I thought you were a comedian and comedic actor. I didn't realize you were a rapper, Dana Carvey.
Yeah, he has a rap album.
Oh, I can rap. Give me a word.
Lays down some beats.
Give me a word or anything.
Pepper.
Pepper, yeah, Pepper, see a leper. What you gonna say? Are you on an upper? Take yourself
dude.
downtown. Don't wipe off that frown. Come on, man.
boy.
You're like a Biff. You're like Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, I gotta jump off.
I know it's terrible, but I had so much fun, and I liked your moves. But anyway,
Tony,
so
you could put him right up on Kill Tony with that.
I would love that.
Dana comes out.
I'm already planning. I'm planning because I want to come on as a character. I loved,
Yeah.
Obviously Shane, and you have Kyle on there with his intense prosthetics. He looks with Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So.
And he switched during that show. He went back into the prosthetic chair and turned into RFK Jr. halfway through the episode.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
Do
Kyle
you provide
Dunnigan.
a guy? Do you provide a guy or a woman that does this?
There's a whole team for these ones now.
Mhm.
It used to be just a rubber mask many years ago.
Sure.
Good luck. And now there's a whole truck and multiple people that it's like a nightmare back there.
You're putting some money back into the production. I like that. Right?
Yeah.
Make
Yeah,
it
maybe.
nice. Actually, I went there, Dana. It is nice. They treat you right. You go back there. Got some good black and white shots of me and Tony walking around, and I think those ones, like I see clips all over the place, but which is great. Those clips have to help. They're just floating all over.
Yeah.
And they're always funny. And I think a great addition is when Shane comes in and does. Now, what does he do as Trump? Does he put anything on, or he used to not? Now he puts a little.
I think it's just a little bronzer and a powerful wig. I don't think.
And a wig. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it takes much.
It's nothing crazy. Yeah. I'm just saying it's just the voice is so funny anyway, and he's got his mannerisms. So
and he's
always
big
fun.
guy. It really works. What I like what you've done is like the show has gotten so big, but it still feels like in a way it's made for $1. It's still, that would be the first worst thing. Is some idiot somewhere would say, you got to get in a fancy studio, man. The club ain't working. And it's like, so that's,
that was part of the actual demands that I made was we got to keep it real. We got to keep it raw. And in fact, my note post this newest release today, I was talking to the production team and I said it was a little too flowy. It seemed like the people coming out were on the other side of the curtain. Like we need to get back to a little more
like
of the
gaps, pauses. Yeah, rough on the edges.
Yep.
Bad intros. I mean, awkward. Coming on the stage kind of feels like they're not ready to come on, kind of something.
Yeah,
all
mess
that
ups.
stuff.
You need that. Those mess ups. I only know it from my one experience. Just we're talking about Kill Tony. We're talking to Tony Hinchcliffe. So we're like on the radio.
I know.
Now we're back from a commercial. We're talking with Tony
on K-Fog 105.
And I didn't know much about it. In full disclosure, when I went, I knew about it at the Comedy Store, and I'm never up past 9:15. So I didn't even do like roast battle, which isn't this, but all these things pop up, and I think a lot of people are copying you now in a way of going, let's do some sort of different thing than just stand up.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're aware of that, and it was interesting because I didn't know how many people in Austin would come. I don't know if it was that way at the Comedy Store, but it's obviously bigger in Austin. And then they wait. Is it in a restaurant or something?
It's at a bar right next door. Big, dingy, hollowed out, barely a bar. Barely a bar. Like it's really just a bartender. Barely anybody has the money for drinks. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of tap water, a lot of water coolers and people waiting, and a lot of broke, struggling artists and people that are doing Uber Eats and Postmates and all these side gigs to make extra money. It's a real vibe. It basically took the place of the front patio of the Comedy Store, which is where people used to kind of be camped out.
Just camp out and hang out and look for. They made it to LA. Now what? They just go there and go, I got to be around what I've always thought about Comedy Store, this, and now with Mothership and Joe's place there, people want to be part of it somehow. And this is actually a good way to cut the line because, if you're not a big headliner, if you don't know Joe, it's very hard, I'm sure, to get into the comedy Mothership and just do a week. So these people, I think, Dane, you can explain what is actually the breakdown of the Kill Tony show for the people who aren't familiar.
Well, the show is basically, people want to perform on stage. They get 60 seconds. It's
Yep.
all random. There's a bucket in which over 200 names are on the inside
There's
of it.
so many people that want to
Yeah.
do it.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's over 300.
Yeah.
It's been up to 350 at times when, yeah. And in the arenas that we do and stuff, it's the same thing. And we try to fit as many of the signups as we can into a seated section in the arenas. But yeah, at the mothership, there's a big dingy 6th Street, nasty, gritty bar next door. And if I pull the name out of the bucket, a producer runs behind
The headset.
out the back door with a headset and yells, Jeremiah Smith. And
Yeah.
everybody goes, "Hey, Jeremiah!" And Jeremiah walks out, and then they bring them right backstage. And then when the person before them's done, I call up Jeremiah Smith, and then they get 60 seconds uninterrupted, completely uninterrupted. A
Yeah.
lot of the ripoff shows, like you were mentioning, they just don't get that part. They just can't wait to
You
possibly
can't-
be
yeah.
funny. And they jump in at any point trying to get their own laughs in. And but the format is pretty critical to the show, because and then wow, did they make the most of their 60 seconds or did they kind of bomb? And they know what they're signing up for. The show can be pretty ruthless if they do really poorly and didn't prepare. And so it's kind of like it could be a roast, or
It's
it
a
could
real
be
make or break, because they can really score in 2-3 jokes or one joke that you can win. And there's a panel. Let's say it's you. It's always you.
Yep.
And who else is it always? And then you have like extras, right?
There's my co-host Brian Redban, who mainly focuses on sound effects and making sure that everything's being recorded. Yeah, exactly. 60 seconds, the sound of a cat plays, and if
there's not a buzzer, it just goes meow.
Yeah, just a little something to let them know, like last chance to wrap it up, because 10 seconds later, a giant, overwhelmingly loud bear roar happens, which completely cuts them off.
Oh.
And then I conduct an interview with them for an unlimited amount of time. If I find them completely interesting, actually, only a couple weeks ago, I think we had the record holder for all-time longest interview. I think it was 23 or 24 minutes total on his first interview. The guy just had the most unbelievable answers to what was that guy's name? Alex Tarshoon. Oh my God, his shoes were falling apart. He works at a pizza joint. He has 8 dogs. Turns out he was on the next week. We found out that he got kicked out of his apartment because the people found out because of his appearance on Kill Tony that he has 8 dogs.
Oh.
He makes cartoons. It was just hilarious. And, the interview parts, to me, that's the secret main part of the show. Everybody's like, oh, a minute to make it or break it. But really, it's the 8 minutes in the interview part where people can play along and tag along, and you get an idea of how they can improvise or if they're naturally funny. Sometimes they're so much funnier in the interview part than they even were with the minute part.
It saves them. And also, you're good because you're the guy that interviews them, and you have to extract the right questions to make them funny, or just stumble into something. And when you do, well, my experience, I was there, you would come into something and then we would find out something, and then everyone yells, and then it's like, oh, we hit something. Now let's jump on that.
Exactly. And they can use that as material in their future and whatnot. And that's kind of what I'm digging for. I'm using my gut instincts to try to feel where there's something missing. Is it in their childhood? Is it in their dating life? Is it something they do for work? I was just telling somebody this the other day, and it kind of hit me where this thing comes from, because I was telling them, actually it was Carrot Top we just had on, and I was talking to him about how I used to fall asleep as a kid watching Letterman. I would put a towel under my door so that my angry, furious single mother wouldn't yell at me. And I would watch Letterman as a little kid. I would fall asleep to Letterman, and I would stay up extra late, and I would wake up extra early to listen to old school Howard Stern on terrestrial radio. So this interview thing it's only, and here I am 40 years old, 12 years into the show, and it's starting to hit me now. That's where it's kind of molded out of. My interview style comes from the preparedness and calm coolness and comedian style of Letterman, but mixed with the chaotic craziness and naughtiness kind of old school Howard Stern,
Yeah,
because it's
for
just
sure.
what raised me. I didn't really have a dad in my life growing up as a kid, and these are the things that I looked up to: was Letterman late at night, Stern first thing in the morning, and pro wrestling throughout the evening and days if I got to do it. And if you look at those three exact things and kind of mix them together with my main job as a stand-up comedian, the show kind of it is exactly kind of that,
Mhm.
you know?
Wow. Well, for people who are just some of our listeners, it's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to me that usually every movie I've ever done, not many, but the behind the scenes was better than the movie. And you guys keep it like it's like the green room. I mean, there is no, and it's fascinating to me how you've casually put this together, but it seems to really come through you
Yeah.
completely. The sensibility and all the decisions. I mean, I know you have partners and other people, but it seems to be you. And I love it because in old school show business, the only thing we had was the Gong Show that was like this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw that, but
Yeah.
it's not like your show, but it would be like an ancestor of it. And Letterman deconstructed late night in his own
Right.
way, for sure. And then, of
Mhm.
course, the sarcasm at Howard Stern's brilliance of that. And then being really curious, I think, when
Yes.
you're in that mindset and the person's there, and this is now a vulnerable thing. Maybe 13 years ago, but it's a big thing to be on Kill Tony and
Yeah.
talking to you. And so I just was talking to David earlier, we walkie-talkie, and I said, you just have a real likability to you, even though
Mm.
the show you'd say, oh, it's mean or this and that, but
Yeah.
there is a sweetness to the show. If you were not a nice
Yeah.
guy, it wouldn't work.
Right.
They can sense that. So that's all I wanted to say. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Those are those are some of the best parts for me, is making the magical, or not making, because you can't even make them. It's almost like deep sea fishing, and you're just
Yeah.
hoping sometimes that a perfect episode, like Monday's episode that we just taped, right? Let me just take you through this one because it's kind of a perfect example.
Great.
A few months ago, here I am getting stoned at my place in the afternoon, thinking, where are we going? What's the next, right? What's something that'll throw off the fans that have watched 730 episodes of this? They watch it every week. They see me and my homies doing it quite often. What's something that I could throw into the mix? And somehow, some way, one of the many messages that I've gotten recently from somebody's assistant or friend of an assistant or whatever is that, hey, Carrot Top might be interested in doing the show, who I've met a couple times before. So I'm like, hell yeah, that's perfect. This sounds crazy. Let's try it.
Mhm.
So we exchange numbers and we talk on the phone. He's on his boat off the coast of Florida at the time. And, naturally, just like anybody or anything, we all want everybody to like us, right? Isn't that really the secret? We all want to
Sure.
have a mutual respect for one another.
Absolutely.
So here he is. He's got nothing to gain, right? He's on a fucking yacht off the
Oh, yeah.
coast of Florida.
Yeah,
He's
he
just
rakes in cash.
falling out of control.
Yeah.
Life is good. He doesn't need anything. But, people want to be part of the fun
Of
chaos of a
course,
modern
yeah.
show. So there I
Mhm.
am talking to him, and he's going, you really want to have blah, 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 blah? And I go, yeah. And, what if you brought like a trunk of props and kind of did some of your famous prop stuff throughout the show? And he's like, really? You sure? Like, I don't know. Like, I could just be a normal comedian and sit there. I go, yeah, you could, but we always do that. And our video and our cameras and everything is so good now. And we're at such a high level that we can really capture this. I think it could be great. And we set it up, and he is kind of, I can feel the weariness at the
Yeah.
time, right? Naturally, like, really, props? Is he setting me up? This and that kind of. I mean, he doesn't say that. I just
Sure.
kind of
Okay.
feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it like 4%. And as it gets closer, there I am last week looking at my schedule going, wow, I booked Carrot Top solo, right? Like, anything can happen here. One thing that I've learned from doing this show so long is that egos can be the trickiest part, right? If I give a comic that I started with, 18 years ago, the seat next to me, they're happy to be there. They're looking to sell tickets. They're going to be funny, this and that. But I have to make sure that the guest really feels special and wants to be there and this and that. So last week, I'm like, holy shit, am I crazy? Because this could just be a nuclear meltdown. I've never worked with Carrot Top before. What if he goes out there and doesn't like something about what
Which
I
it's
said?
funny either way, almost.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Almost, until someone goes, I don't want that episode out, that I'm leaving, or they storm off. We once had Ric Flair storm off of an episode because he got way too drunk during the day at a hotel lobby. And he got mad because we were making fun of someone who donates their time to coaching kids baseball. And basically, I called the guy a pedophile in the moment. It was a joke that worked perfectly fine. No one in their right state of mind would have been offended. And he goes, I don't like it when people make fun of people that donate their time. I'm out of here. And I thought he was kidding, but he left. Ended up being one of the big highlights of the show's history because people love the fact that,
it's real.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
crazy.
People love the fact that drunk Ric Flair walked off. But anyway, cut to Monday, and it ends up being an unbelievable episode. And I mean, Carrot Top, right after the first comedian says they work at a restaurant, he busts out a fork that has chopsticks attached to the backside. And for white people that might not know how to use chopsticks, you'll love this. It's a fork on this way, and the chopsticks are just clacking together. Comically hilarious. And that was just the first thing that he pulled out of this trunk.
It's smart. He's waiting for a spot, and then he puts it in, which is smart.
Oh, so genius.
Oh, that's killer.
And that's the thing, is being able to make it, refillable and fun. And I make it entertaining for myself, hoping that the fans of the show are with me, kind of, you know what I mean? Just on the adventure to see something kind of different. Because you guys know all these shows, you have, pre-interviewed guests, and everything's kind of a lot more set up than a lot of people think it is. So this whole thing being improvised, it's a huge risk, huge reward, huge risk. Millions of people are going to catch it, and you don't know what's going to happen. And in closing with this Carrot Top thing, just using it as an example, if they gave Emmys away to podcasts, I think this would be an episode that would win an Emmy. Carrot Top on Kill Tony out of nowhere, almost like what. And I'm not dissing Carrot Top here, but it feels like I'm introducing a whole new era.
Sure, you've got a whole big crowd.
15 to 35-year-olds to the mystique of Carrot Top.
What's old is new again. When you were telling this story, in my brain, I'm going, oh, that's going to destroy. Because it's, I don't know the word silly, it's abstract. It's a guy who made these props and comes out one at a time. For a new audience of young people, this is revolutionary. It's not a guy with the elbow on the thing going, I jacked off in front of my cat today. It's just, no, I'm going to be balls out funny and abstract thing. And by the way, I've heard Jerry Seinfeld and Chris Rock sing Carrot Top praises.
Sure.
Because who else is doing his act?
And he's a nice guy, too. I mean, I went and saw him in Vegas just to, I think it was the Luxor. We were there a night early. I also go see Carrot Top. No hate or anything. Just like, let's go see. I haven't seen him. And I just hear, and people like to use him as like a punchline. But you go, something's working. And we fucking laughed our asses off. He's pulling out a toilet. He's playing. It's so ridiculous. You go, fuck, I'm glad someone's doing this. Yeah, because I can't think of this shit.
I think that was brilliant. I mean, what a great thing to have him and understand. And of course, they wanted to see all the props in his joke.
Oh, they don't know they want to see him. They don't know what he does. And they're like, oh, shit. Because they're also waiting for you, who's the boss, to say, oh, like this guy. And if they go, okay, they give him a chance. And then hopefully he comes through, which jumping in when it kind of fit in the story is really great.
That's inspired.
Yeah.
And
then it's like, oh, food.
What can I see? Is this out now?
It's coming out in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah,
I got to see that one. That sounds hysterical.
And it had everything. It had people bombing, which is what people love.
Yeah.
It had people doing good, which people love. It had great interviews, which people love. And we had a guy win a golden ticket. This amazing, cool, obese black man came out with children's books for adults that he had written, and he brought them out. And it's just the funny. I don't it was so unbelievably funny that I realized this guy's probably going to make tens and tens of thousands of dollars just from me letting him give the shout out, because the front page, the first page, was so funny. I think the name of the children's book for adults was Man Fuck Them Kids. And the first page, he goes, just read the very first page, and it said like, sorry to all the pedophiles that bought this book thinking it was something else. It's a man, fuck these kids. But he ended up winning a golden ticket, which is a super rare thing.
What does that do?
Which means that you can come back on the show anytime, as long as there's not another golden ticket winner already scheduled. So you basically just get to come back without having to worry about signing up and waiting at the bar next door in the bucket. You get to kind of like know.
That's a tough wait, because I think when I did it, we how many do you get through on an average night? 20?
No, it feels like that. Probably about with the regulars all together, probably about 12 or 13.
Okay.
About nine bucket pulls, 3 regulars.
Right, because it's not just 1 minute. It's a bunch of bullshit, and then maybe we'll talk for a second, and then I'll, it's organized chaos. Because before I went out, I think it was me and David Tell, and you said, let him get through it, like you told me, like you said just now, and then I'll probably start, and then you guys jump in. And it's a mixture of that. Like, I'm sure we got greedy. We want to jump in while you're doing an interview, but it all worked out.
Oh, it's always great. It's always organically different, and the people love it being different. If someone goes on a run and they take over for a bit, that's great. If they're quiet for 15 minutes straight, that's totally fine. It's just the moment and the difference and the vibe and the energy, and it's kind of what makes it its own thing. The fact that it's unproduced and doesn't have network notes is the reason why it survives.
Oh,
and
God,
thank God Netflix got that. I couldn't believe.
I think Ted is smart about that.
Oh,
it's unpolished, and you just luckily, if they just go in somewhere like that den and say, okay, whatever this is works. Pull this, put it somewhere else, but let's just get it exactly the same, and don't spruce it up and make it Hollywood. It's the thing everyone hates. You know what I mean? They go, oh, they ruined it. They ruined it.
And in fact, we accidentally organically did that for the Netflix, for the first Netflix taping. And it falls on me. It's my note to myself is like, oops, we did what they would have wanted to do accidentally. Little more chaos, little more improvising on my part instead of going to what I have next on my little notes.
Yeah.
And don't let the Netflix of it all get to my head,
Oh, wow. It's really hard to do, especially it's Netflix, It's just very interesting to me that, this new digital media, and it's been around for a while, but this show, it had to happen. It's so entertaining and so real. And the numbers, I don't know. Bert Kreischer was the first one on the podcast, and he kind of said it, Bert's such a sweet guy, but he's like, I get way more numbers, more people than the Today Show or any of these television shows.
Mm-hmm.
What are your numbers?
Meaning YouTube, right?
YouTube numbers, playing arenas, just all this energy around this. I don't know who is in this new, I don't call it a Rat Pack. There is sort of like, there's Shane and you and Bert and Tom and the last 7-8 years creating their own ecosystem, their own universe. It's very cool to watch from someone who came from the 60s, the 70s.
It's a whole interesting world we're living in, because something that isn't applied to even just the simple numbers is the amount of shares, the amount of the length watched, for example. Like even back in the day, if the Tonight Show had let's just say 4 million people watching it, well, what are those real 4 million? Is 200,000 of them hospitals and nursing homes, and is 1 million of them, grandmothers falling asleep, or, who's exactly watching? Whereas with like a Kill Tony, for example, 100% of the viewers are comedy fans, or at least 98. The 2% that might be watching it for the first time because they went down a weird rabbit hole might be there, but they're going to get hooked too. I'm joking about moms and grandmothers, but they 100% love the show. Everybody always says to me, I had my mom glance at it and I can't believe that she loves it, but it's They love the fact that they can't believe that they're watching someone get a magical opportunity to have a chance, that they literally were just on the street not knowing if they had a chance, and now they're trying to make it. So there's really something for everybody. But my point is also, a huge factor is, so if there's 4 million people watching the Tonight Show, how many people actually make it to the stand-up comedy part, which is what, after 2 interviews or whatever, and a whole monologue and this and that. And also, the length, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes long, whereas grand total, what is the Tonight Show if you take out the commercials? 45 minutes, 55 minutes or something? I have no idea.
42 probably. If
Yeah.
it's still an hour.
It's an hour, yeah.
So when you think of the overall engagement and the locked inness of these shows, they're there, it's a destination, they get used to it, it becomes a weekly habit. And so it's a whole different
I just
level.
want to ask one quick question. So the guy who got the golden ticket, did he tear up, or was is it kind of emotional in that moment? So that's another frequency
game
you're
changer
hitting
for
on the
them.
show, that you can also change. There's a reality component to this at times.
Like America's Got Talent, like it's same people like that, because seeing people that night, I'm a little not as rough as like Attell. Attell is a sharpshooter, so he's probably the worst person I could sit with, because he's a crowd work guy. He can say anything about anything. And I also don't want to go for the jugular on these guys, because I'm part of the people that go, fuck, I can't be a dream killer. But then, of course, I get caught up in it and want to get laughs. But some people that do great, it's a big deal. Some people get crushed, and that's just the rough world they're entering.
And they can't sign
all
up
win
again, and totally
they go again and flip it around. Yeah,
they know what they're signing up for, and they can sign up again. One of my favorite features of the show is when I notice, and this happened on Monday as well, is a comedian came up and crushed, and I go, "You look familiar. You've been on this show before, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, 2 years ago." I go, "It didn't go that good 2 years ago, did it?" He goes, "Hell no, it didn't." And so, like, you're watching the actual growth in real time.
He thought of that for 2 years. Yeah.
And not only to answer your question about the golden ticket, did he tear up? Not only did we see him wipe a tear, but again, I'm talking about, this guy is literally like 6'4", 350-pound aggressive black man. So you're watching him go like that, and it hits so much harder than someone that looks like a low testosterone white guy like the three of us.
Yeah, me. Also, we put, like, even in that movie Bus Boys that Theo and I did, we brought in 3 guys from your show. So that's to play these guys that work with us, Dana. But I don't know if you'd know them, but they know them from the show, and they came in and they were cool. I think one was on when I was there, but they all do well and they all have a following, and it's just fun to pepper in stuff like that, because the people that know will know, and it's just another layer in there of tapping into what's going on, and that show's going on.
Yeah, and those regulars that you had on, this is a very special thing that gets into the territory where nothing like it's ever been done before. Because there's an America's Got Talent element. Yeah, there's a little bit of a Letterman-y, Stern-y interview element. But one thing that this show has that's never been done is exactly that. The 3, 4, 5 regulars that are doing a new minute almost every single week. People are watching them come up with everything, and it's a high pressure situation. Honestly, I would be scared to death if I was them. Here I am controlling the spaceship calmly. Meanwhile, I look at them like, sheesh. Again, granted, I might be writing ballpark about, give or take, a minute every week naturally on stage from performing multiple nights a week, but these guys are doing it publicly in front of millions and millions of people. And when those people go and buy their ticket, they're going to see the more refined version all together, their hour of the stuff that they watched them debut.
Yeah.
Kind of like watching someone write a hit on an acoustic guitar and sing it to you a cappella, and then you get to see how it comes out in the studio, kind of when they really work on it. So people are literally watching these guys grow and make a career in front of their very eyes. Like Cam Patterson, is like a Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle type, Chris Rock, young, only a few years in, 25, 26 years old. And they're getting to watch this freak of nature become a superstar in real time. He just booked a huge movie with Kevin Hart and is going to be out for multiple weeks. And, it's like a main character, main big role. And people have gotten to watch his process, not just see a star, right?
You're right.
So
It's
the
a
way
little
up.
bit not exactly like, but you might be a little bit like a new Lorne Michaels. I mean, in the
Yeah.
sense that, I'm sure we could fit a stadium full of people who have such gratitude for the experience and the feedback, and then coming back doing better. And how many
the
of you
first time-
launched? It's just like
When you
lot of
see Eddie Murphy, Dana, like the first time we see him, it's for me, it's delirious or it's raw. It's a full polished hour. So that you're like, holy shit, this guy's good. But if you can see he's good in 1 minute and then he comes back and he's good again, and then you're like, oh, is this a fluke? It's like writing a hit song over and over. It's hard to do even a minute, it's
and
probably harder.
yeah, and let me remind you, some few with like a Cam Patterson, for example, very few, maybe one out of every 20 or 30 minutes is kind of rough. And immediately, as soon as the cat meows and that's my time, he goes, fuck, I hated that minute. That fucking sucked. I go, no, it's not bad. He goes, no, that fucking sucked, man.
Yeah.
So they get to see it. That makes it real, right? It's like, oh,
yeah, right
shit.
after they bomb, they're able to, with you guiding them, going, "Oh, I just fucking sucked." When
And
you're
the
playing
people-
open mics back in the day, they didn't get that opportunity. You just
Exactly.
humiliated.
And the millions of people watching get to go, holy shit. Every week he works so hard. It's not easy to kill. He makes it look
No.
easy.
Yeah.
And then you have one rough week and it's like, oh, it's real. This could all go off the wire. Like, yeah, it's kind of like Lorne Michaels, but at the same time, even SNL has its own writers and producers and everything, a bunch of people clanking their heads together. Right.
To help make a star. Yeah.
Exactly. These guys are out there sinking or swimming on their own. So it's really exciting. I get kind of nervous every time I bring up a regular because I do want them to do good.
Yeah.
I want them to shine up.
Cam's a nice kid. Danny's he's a good looking kid. He I saw him at the Improv the other night. Surprised to see him at the Improv in LA, but I guess he comes out here. And but all those guys do well. The one guy, the tall guy, was on Cameo. They make money too.
Yeah, they're doing good. William Montgomery is one of the highest paid people on Cameo. Casey Rocket's all over on tour, nonstop work ethic, running around, super physical. Ari Maddy from Estonia is just destroying. One of truly the best stand-up comedians, and he's still kicking out a new minute every single week. In fact, he does this thing where he flexes on everybody because we let the regulars go as long as they want. They're not just limited to a minute. So he does a thing where he, like on Monday, dropped 2 minutes and 30 seconds just for the sake of the how long he wrote that bit. So it's really crazy what's going on. It's exciting because I get to be a fan of.
Sure, you just get to watch. You're right there.
I just have to insert this at this point. I've just learned a hell of a lot about your show.
Yeah.
And I admire it on all, and how many frequencies, I started to use that again, or metrics it operates on, and feeding into why it is such a success. You go, oh, they go up and these comedians bomb and they shit on them. I don't know. It's just completely comprehensive. I just want to say that I was in Vegas. I was at the Wynn Hotel. I was playing a private date. And across the way, out the window, I was way on a high floor. Every 10 minutes early in the evening, I would see you 100 feet tall.
Oh, the whole side of the
Resorts
building.
International. I don't know how big a room, but you were just playing there, right? So just for a second, how's your stand-up career going? It's a whole other side thing. You're playing at big rooms. I mean,
I've never had more fun. All the stuff that I've worked on, and I joke about it now in the hour, is like I always, when everything was I've always liked to how do I say this in a non-corny way? I like
corny.
I like the idea of pushing the crowd away and then having to win them back over and
Mhm.
touch on really, really, racial issues and sometimes what would be considered stuff that could get someone in trouble. And I focused on that throughout the entire pandemic. When I found out I could move to Texas and be back to performing indoors rather than outside in Los Angeles with cars 6 feet apart from one another. And
That Supernova gig, that one is
yeah.
Magic Castle, yeah.
Yeah, terrible. And and I focused on all this, even though it looked like Netflix and a lot of things were going cleaner and more, if you want to be successful, you gotta be, mainstream or whatever. And I really doubled down and focused on, what I wanted to talk about, and even the stuff that happened with the Trump rally a few months ago. Like, it's all applied now, and it gives me kind of permission, it feels, with my stand-up to really, really, really finally, after 18 years, talk about the type of stuff that I want to talk
And
about.
they kind of know what they're getting. Even that Trump thing, which did you ever think if he lost somehow that people would be coming after you for that?
Oh yeah.
They'd
I
pin
know
it
for a
all.
fact. I actually found out from the administration a few days before the election. I was in communication with them the entire time. And on the Sunday morning before the election, I woke up to a text message that said, "Call me when you can." And I looked at the time. It was sent at 6:15 a.m. from the guy that booked me for the Trump roast, a high-level advisor in the camp, like that's at all the meetings and everything. And I just knew it wasn't good. And I called him, and he goes, "Hey man, just to let you know, because the press writes their stuff up before it happens, before the election, they write it up. This is what we're going to put out if Trump wins with the actual statistics. This is what we're going to put out if Kamala wins with the actual statistics." And he goes, "Just to let you know, the press already has it written up. If Trump loses, they are totally 100% going to blame you and I. Now, I work in politics, so my career is going to be totally over. I don't know how it's going to work for you as a comedian." And I'm literally like, "Oh, fuck," because now what? Now I've lost. Now I've lost basically everyone, the Republicans and the Democrats. I'm stuck with literally the 6,000 people in the country that truly don't give a fuck about anything at all.
You got that crowd still.
I remember this well. I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to talk to you about it, and you kind of I understand it now. But it was like for about 2-3 weeks, your name was really everywhere. New York Times, they're tying this to me a very benign, just silly joke. Please, people, about Puerto Rico and floating garbage, whatever. And they ran with it politically. But I just thought there was a period of time where you were sort of going to potentially, from that joke, reorientate how America tilts in the presidential election. I don't think any comedian that I could think of in the history of comedy has been in that position. And now getting the confirmation that that's how they were going to write it, that whole rally was a trip. I mean, but you were, I just thought it was fascinating what happened with that.
Yeah, the plan was to just go out there and kind of have fun and be part of this wild gang of kind of, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to like any part of what I'm saying. But don't worry. What could possibly?
What do you mean? The Hulk Hogan of it and the Bobby Kennedy? I mean, just sort of if you're on the left, it would be the rogues gallery of misfits and anti-status quo rebels. Basically. Yeah.
And it wasn't exactly how I expected it to go. They had me cold open right after the national anthem, which, if you know anything about my comedy style, literally, I don't cold open anyone's show. And mine, nobody's. That would be crazy to do, especially at a political rally, especially with the lights all the way up, which isn't exactly for some reason how I pictured it. And I mean, audience completely lit all the way to the rafters, Madison Square.
You're like in a grocery store, basically. You're like, you need to dim it down. I don't want to see after the front row, but you go, oh, so this is The lights are staying like this. Okay, I go on now. All right.
Yep. And the audience was not mic'd for comedy levels. It was for pure rally levels, which it turns out is hot death if you're listening to a clip of comedy. Because in the room, I'm telling you, there's tens of thousands of witnesses that were there. It was a success. I swear. It was wild. There was nothing but high fives and stuff right afterwards. And then it didn't take long. It was so live.
Before you go, wait a second.
Oh yeah.
Some
Wait, it went
narrative
bad?
got developed that you bombed or something. Was that what happened?
I was backstage looking at the monitors. There's like a whole crew of, it's like Hogan walks by, Dr. Phil's fucking fist pumping Rudy Giuliani. It's Donald Trump Jr. next to me. And I said to him, I go to Don Jr., I said, man, I think this is like becoming a news story. They're focusing in on this one joke I made about Puerto Rico. And he goes, does it seem like they're outraged? And I go, yeah. He goes, welcome to the team. And I realized right then, I'm like, oh yeah, they've been bashing Elon Musk, calling him a Nazi and all of this crazy stuff for a guy that gives free Wi-Fi to the poor parts of the world, builds electric cars for 100% of everybody, and this and that and everything.
SpaceX.
Rogan, one of the nicest people that I've never seen anyone help more people in the world than Joe Rogan. And meanwhile, he's a Nazi. That's a Nazi. That's a racist, a right wing, far right wing. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm that now. This is crazy. I'm a pot smoking, pro-choice, anti-war centrist. There's no way. But
they really throw Nazi around. It loses a little of its luster when you just use it every single day. You start to go, wait, what is it again? It used to be a real stab, and now you go, I guess people just use it. Kids use it now.
Now, according to a lot of people, 53% of the popular vote of the country is Nazis, I guess. So what a world we're living in, where 53% of the people can be labeled Nazis.
Go on the record. I don't think you're a Nazi at all. Like, I don't have any.
Me and Dana aren't.
I don't get any Nazi vibe from you. There's other vibes I get. No, I'm just kidding. But it is a fascinating world. I don't think I always say this. We got the wheel, we got fire, we got the printing press, we got this, we got nukes, we got nothing prepared us for social media. And if the world does end and they're digging through the rubble, they'll find a little box, and all they'll hear is a voice go, Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
It is
not literally him. It's all social media, but
the news comes from social media now.
Yeah.
Like, it happens there first. The news was reporting outrage about a joke because of the tweet that came out that said racist speaker at racist rally had this to say about Puerto Rico. Not comedian, speaker, not joke, comment.
Right.
The way they label these things. And if you don't know me, it sounds
right. And that's the first a lot of people saw of you.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
But
That's
the
a big
people
stage.
that didn't, with that said, and this is kind of where I think this backfired for the mainstream media and whatnot, where it backfired is I don't think they counted on, because I'm not, at the time especially, wasn't considered a mainstream guy. I don't think they factored in the power of Kill Tony, the millions and millions of people, and the millions and millions of people that watched the most watched program of the year last year, which was the roast of Tom Brady. So when they called me a speaker and said that I had racist comments, I think a lot of people, and I know for a fact a lot of people go, wait a second. I think a lot of people realize the news can be extremely tilted by this exact instance, because a lot of people are I saw him be more racist on the roast of Tom Brady. He called a black lesbian a da-da-da-da and a this and a that and a whatever. It's kind of what I go for. And they're like, that's what he does. So,
It's out of place comedy
the same
in that
thing.
situation.
The news cycle has changed, and
They
the
don't
networks
understand.
and the traditional outlets had monopolies, and then they could cancel someone and shit on them, and there was no place really to go. And now immediately you can go on Joe Rogan or wherever and set the record straight.
Yeah, I taped another episode of Kill Tony less than 24 hours after that rally, and I was the news at that point. I mean, it was me all day. My guests canceled on me that day. I had some big guests that came in from Los Angeles for it, and yeah, but again, the real comedians here, the real stand-ups, can't wait to be on that episode, and it ended up paying off big time for them because it was an extra wacky episode. Because
extra tune in, and also the people that hear the joke go, "Well, he's doing a joke," even though it's race related. There's a lot of jokes out there that are just poking fun of stuff. Doesn't mean you're a hater.
There's Puerto Rico. There's pollution in the ocean. It was just a connection of a joke. It wasn't like sitting around. I got to make a joke about Puerto Rico.
I hate that. Yeah, wasn't.
Yeah. And the thing that happens when someone when they focus in on a single clip is that you're missing out on the fact that, I totally 100% made a point to make fun of everybody. Latinos, whites, blacks, Israel, Palestine, my own mother. Strategically, that was part of the tone of the thing. It was supposed to be about free speech and how we can make fun of everything. And that's another thing that kind of happened is a lot of people saw, wow, this campaign might be the one with kind of a sense of humor. Even though
did you have a dogs are different than cats bit in your back pocket?
I have one I can lend you
just in case.
No, but I did have one about eating dogs and cats, and I'm not even kidding you. That was actually in it too.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
Of course you have a bit. I love the freedom. I'm not in the world. My brand is something very different in what I do. But I laugh my ass off at your stuff. And when I'm behind the scenes with comedians, we're all doing stuff like that. It's the only way to make comedians laugh behind the scenes is something shocking, something so foul or incorrect that you just laugh. And of course, in the room, everyone knows there's nothing behind it. It's just because you're not supposed to say it. And so
even in a good comedy crowd, if you're in a good comedy club and that's like a secret place to do all this stuff, you can even get oohs and ahs, and but they still think it's funny. But outside of that safety net, it seems weird that people can take it wrong or pretend to take it wrong and really go after you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And we all get it. We get it.
If it's a politician or a lawyer or someone like that doing that, that's outside the parameters of their thing. Like them doing that would be kind of crazy.
Sure.
Well, for me, I could only do for a while Western European white males, as far as voices, like Swedes or French or whatever. And I couldn't do South America or Asia or India, but I'm working my way east, doing some Mediterranean accents and working my way slowly back toward India. And I will eventually, on this podcast, I do a Japanese man suffering an earthquake. And that's been okay.
Do you want to show it to him real quick?
Yeah, what does that sound like? I got to hear it.
Actually, this is fly on the wall. Yeah, do it.
Japanese man on the phone with his friend, and an earthquake happens. Be like, I don't have a phone, but what are you doing? Oh, it's good. What do you do? Oh, so good. Oh, so this is good.
It's a bigger one, I think.
So anyway, that I know it has nothing to do with Japanese people, but I just know that sound and rhythm makes my brain happy. So.
Oh, that brings me so much joy.
Yeah,
I love it.
Making a comedian laugh.
Yeah, I know. He's the guy to do that one too. That's for sure.
Is fun.
That could be your minute, Dana. That would have been part of your minute. You'd have like another 20 seconds.
Yeah.
You have to bring your laptop up on stage.
when I can think of something to do on that show, I would love to come on. You could, I would confer with you, but there's certain impressions you feel like doing with prosthetic makeup.
Yeah.
And there's just SNL and kind of you guys now, and it's fun. Yeah. I mean, I thought Adam Ray's Biden was really, really a funny take on it.
Mm-hmm.
His whole scared attitude and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
he's fantastic. We put that together in 6 days. Mm-hmm. I texted him on a Tuesday morning. I said, "Hey, do you have a Biden?" Because he's always done Dr. Phil, and it's always been a wild success on the show. Guest of the year 2023, and it's like just one of the biggest pops you could ever hear is Dr. Phil coming out on a Kill Tony show. I mean, people lose their minds.
Just that he starts swearing and stuff.
Yeah,
it's such a funny, obtuse take to bring out Dr. Phil in 2025 and have it kill. It's kind of like, really, Adam? And then you see it's killing. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so I hit him up on a Tuesday afternoon saying, "Hey, do you have a Joe Biden impression?" And he goes, I just do 5 seconds of it in my stand-up act. I've never been in character as Biden before.
Mhm.
And I go, "What are you doing Monday?" He goes, "Oh, let's go. Let's do it." Because like at the time they were having debates and stuff, Biden and Trump. And so I knew he was going to be Biden. So I hit up Shane, who's a big, obviously huge Kill Tony fan and fan of Adam Ray's Dr. Phil and his in-character work.
Yeah.
And I go, "Hey, Shane, I got Adam Ray doing Joe Biden on Monday." And he goes, "Shit, I'm supposed to go to fucking Philadelphia to write the next season of Tires, but I'll extend I'll stay here an extra day. I have to do Trump with Biden."
Of course.
And so it's so fun how these things come together. It's literally like they want to be there. They want to do it. They want to collaborate with each other. It's not like a job at all. It's like a jam session.
It's fun. Shane's such a home run hitter too, and go out there and perfect to have them both.
I'll tell you the purity of it, because they're seated side by side and they're facing out to the audience. They're not, you didn't build a set. There's not movement walking. It's just they're in character, just going forward. And it feels loose, you know.
And they kind of wait to have something funny to say. They wait. And then if they have something, they jump in. Or what do you think of that, Trump? I mean, that's hard to do. It's hard to be funny, be in an impression, and ad lib off what's going on right that second. It's just
they were having so much fun, and it was
Shane is second to none. He sees things on multiple levels like nobody else. There's a guy during that episode. I go, "What do you do?" He goes, "I work at Trader Joe's." He goes, "That's what we call this guy, Trader Joe." Biden. It's like
everyone's putting that together, going, "Oh shit, good one."
In a second. I mean,
he's great.
He's like that all the time, by the way. We all live here in Austin, Texas now. And I mean, oh my God. Off stage, on stage, at a bar, next door, here, at his place, in the swimming pool, everywhere. He can just lay you out all the time. Incredible.
Yeah, I'm jealous. That sounds fun.
He's a freak.
Just swimming sounds fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else for this young man, Dana? I think we did a good job.
I thought it was very interesting interview. I think for a lot of people who maybe only know you from the Madison Square Garden thing will be like, "Hey." Just all I could say is, really, congratulations. I know it sounds corny, but it's not easy to make it in show business. It's not easy to take control and create something like this and buy a house that I did get it online. I mean, it's 1,100 square feet, which is shocking to me.
That's all.
And does not have a pool yet. He's waiting. But anyway, just congratulations. It's an incredible achievement, and you're just in the pocket, and no one's fucking with you, and no one's telling you what to do. So,
well, thank you. Obviously, as a 40-year-old, I have been looking up to you guys and been a super huge fan my entire life. I don't know how, when mentioning Letterman and Stern and the pro wrestling influence, how I could possibly leave out. I guess I felt it goes without saying how powerful SNL and your guys' movies were to me. And so let it be known that, I wanted to do this to hopefully be able to get you guys eventually on an airplane to Austin, Texas to do the show together. It would be monumental.
That would be fun if we did together.
We're going to do it. We would love it.
I can't wait. So I'll be bothering you guys for that.
And Tony, my waitress this morning had just seen you, brought you up organically, did not know anything about this. And I think maybe the Honda Center, maybe she just saw you somewhere. I don't know where, but she had high praise. So good job on just doing stand up on top of doing everything else.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon, bud. Thank you for
so
coming
much,
on.
guys. A real honor and a pleasure. Have a great day.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right,
Thanks,
take
Dana.
care, guys. Nice to meet you, Dana. This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Please follow, subscribe, leave a like, a review, all the stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss Berman of Odyssey, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman.